Impressionable.
had very, very low self-esteem.
Yeah.
And were depressed in a way, and was manipulating those feelings into them doing terrible shit. They didn't realize the terrible shit that they were doing, and it's kind of the same way. I don't think a lot of MAGA is bad. You know what I mean?
But you're making it sound like Trump is intentionally manipulating MAGA. Is that what I'm hearing?
I mean, he's trying to intentionally manipulate everyone, but MAGA is what he gets. You know. So.
Well, then I got to push back and ask, what is Trump doing that justifies you saying he's manipulating people? Giving them cheaper groceries, a better economy. That's not manipulating, is it?
Stoking fear where it doesn't belong is a huge manipulation tactic with cult leaders.
Grievance politics.
So, yeah, and that's Trump's main thing. He likes to make it seem like anyone but himself has just a terrible agenda. He's the sole person that can fix everything, and anyone who opposes him is a terrible person. And you know what I mean? He's got people convinced of this. He's got people convinced that the only celebrities on the Jeffrey Epstein list are Democrats.
Yeah, that is true. And I don't know how he's done that. But in defense of Trump, most politicians kind of fear monger. I mean, wasn't it Biden that was quoted as saying if you elect Mitt Romney when they were running for re-election of vice president, when he was running with Obama, if you re-elect Mitt Romney, he's going to put y'all back in chains. I mean, is that not grievance, fear mongering politics?
I mean, yeah, it's become a lot more popular within the last a little over a decade. So I wouldn't say Trump is solely responsible for it, but he definitely played the game better than anyone else. You know what I mean? He's definitely he is peak performance when it comes to being a jackass. So
is he winning because he has a bunch of cult followers, or is he simply winning because he's just better at campaigning and being a politician than his competition?
I mean, you got to hand it to the guy. He was good at campaigning. That's the main thing. I mean, he has a silver tongue. You've heard the term silver tongue devil.
You're not saying he's a devil, though, are you?
No.
Okay.
I don't even believe in all that crap. But,
okay.
But no, and also I'm not going to let you keep getting away with it.
What am I getting away with?
You are trying to suggest that prices are going down under Trump.
Well, some folks are, I mean, depending on where you're at, there are some folks suggesting that prices are going down in their neck of the woods. I mean, everybody is, go ahead.
There are some folks, those people being the owners of Walmart, that are saying that their prices are going to increase quite a bit in the next couple of weeks.
But that's not here yet. Right now, for the sake of our conversation, prices have went down. Now, Walmart is stating that the tariffs are going to lead their prices to going up, which, let me say that, because this is probably going to end up leading to another live. Trump posted that Walmart should eat the tariffs. I'm not doing a live on this today, but he actually got on social media and said, Walmart should eat the tariffs. And he stated, I will be watching you and so are your customers. So that sounds like a vile threat. I mean, so it looks like that, despite them getting rid of DEI and doing every damn thing else to please Trump, if they don't eat the tariffs and they raise their prices, you could see a Walmart versus Trump attack or Trump versus Walmart attack.
Yeah, I saw that earlier too, and I laughed out loud.
But what about Keith Fish in the comments? Keith Fish in the comments said Walmart should eat the tariffs.
Yeah, well, who said that?
Someone in the comments. Walmart should eat the tariffs. What's your opinion on that?
I mean, maybe in a perfect world, but we're not in a perfect world.
30%.
Walmart's not going to eat those tariffs.
Right, 30%.
They're not going to do it.
Yeah.
There's no law suggesting that they have to. You know what I mean? So the thing about Trump is he has the worst case of narcissism. He cannot admit when he was wrong. He can't do it. He has never. I don't think he's ever once in his life admitted, like, hey, you know what? I was wrong, or you know what, I should probably look into that because you might be right. Never one. I can't think of a single time.
I believe either in his own writings or something he read, he was taught or he tried to teach others that admitting you're wrong is a sign of weakness.
Yeah, well, according to him and Elon Musk, empathy is a weakness too, and I've never. That's such fucking bullshit.
Mm. Fair enough. So I want to ask you one more thing before I'm moving on. The SCOTUS has temporarily stopped Trump from using this Enemies Alien Invasion Act or whatever from the late 1700s to deport people, particularly without giving them due process and things like that to other countries, even if they're not from that country. I'm going to assume you agree with what the SCOTUS did?
As far as
halting him from using the Alien Enemies Act.
Oh yeah, of course.
Now,
I'm not one that thinks that we should have open borders either.
Okay. When you say open borders, define what you mean by open borders.
I mean that I think that they should have to come here legally, just like any rational person would. But I also don't think that we should be treating them like fucking 1930s Germany.
So you mean come here legally like the South Afrikaners came?
Huh. Are you talking about the white South Africans?
That's who I'm talking about.
Oh man, how did you feel about that?
I think they got moved to the head of the line without a decent explanation. I mean, he's claiming that they're being tortured and having their land taken, but I mean, there's so many people around the world that can say I'm being tortured and having things taken from me. Why? I don't know why they got special treatment other than someone by the name of Elon.
I don't know why he doesn't just come out and say I'm racist. He wouldn't lose any supporters.
Wow, really? You think if Trump actually, wait a minute. You think if Trump actually came out and admitted, suggesting that he's racist, you're suggesting that, if he came out and told people he is a racist individual, you don't think his support would go down at all?
I mean, it would among the black community, obviously. But other than that, no, I don't think. It's like he said, he could stand in the middle of Fifth Avenue and shoot someone and he wouldn't lose any supporters. And I mean, is that wrong? Is that honestly wrong? Based on what you see and hear on your own talk show?
I wish I could push back, but it does seem like he can get away with just about anything. But you're basically alluding to the notion that just about anybody white that's voting for Trump or supporting Trump is either racist or at the very least okay with it.
Not all Trump supporters are racist, but all racists are Trump supporters.
I gotta disagree with you. I mean, there are plenty of blacks and Hispanics that are racist as well, and they don't support Trump. If you're racist towards people of color, you might have a point. But if you don't like, let's say, white people, you could easily be a liberal. In fact, probably most of the people that don't like whites are liberal. So I don't totally agree with you there.
Oh, there's racism across the
board. Right.
But I mean, basically that saying is just going to say that there are a large amount of MAGA that are definitely racist. I mean, last time I was on, I told you that they put up a GoFundMe to bring back the KKK that's already made over half. I haven't seen. Is
that actually is happening? I haven't seen that.
Yeah. I can send you a picture when I'm off here.
Please do, because our first question would be, okay, if the KKK is successfully brought back, what do you want them to do? I mean, like, okay, you want the KKK to come back. What is the mission statement of the KKK? What do you want them to do? I would love to see what you got.
It's all about white replacement here. That's what it is. That the Aryan race is scared that we are losing numbers and control. That's why they're so scared to have a black man as president too. Any of these high position things, it's not. I don't think it's necessarily just because they, see them as slaves, like some people might think. It's because they're scared that those people are going to take their position.
Send me what you got. I got to move it on to Blue. Thanks for coming through. I want to see that though.
Right,
send me that.
Yeah, I'll send it to you.
Appreciate it. All right, moving on with the program. That is what we're discussing. Certainly talking about the fact that the SCOTUS has temporarily blocked Trump from using the Alien Enemies Act from the 1700s to deport folks mainly to El Salvador right now, but he's talking about places like was it Libya? What is the other country he talked about over in Africa? I think it's Libya. Um, Before I take the next call, and by the way, I see Will G says MAGA ain't shit. Will G is no fan of MAGA. Says MAGA ain't shit. They keep going to Hunter's laptop conspiracy to make them feel better from all of Trump's rule breaking. Trump is doing all. Listen, I'll just say it like this: whether you love Trump or you hate him, I think everybody should be at the point of realizing that if for some reason the Democrats do well in the midterms, they're going to impeach him again. I don't think that's even up for debate at this point. If the Democrats do well enough in the midterms, Trump will be dealing with a third impeachment. And it would not surprise me if Elon Musk is brought to testify before Congress about some shit that he's been involved in as well. But yeah, if Trump doesn't do well in the midterms, the writing's on the wall. I mean, there's no other way. We can talk about whether it's right or wrong, whether you agree or disagree, but it's likely to happen. Simple as that. Real quick before we continue on, Trump ain't shit, says Will G. Says Trump knows the price hikes will make him look bad, so he's already looking for an out by threatening the corporations. And that does sound like what he's doing with Walmart, stating that Walmart should eat the tariffs, and he's going to be looking at Walmart, and so will their customers. So basically, that's an indication that if Walmart does not eat those tariffs and their prices go up, yeah, you're going to have Trump running a boycott campaign against Walmart. I think that's, I would bet 2-to-1 odds with my own damn money that that's what's going to happen. If Walmart passes those tariffs on, passes those costs on to the customer, and Walmart publicly states they increased the price solely due to the Trump tariffs, which I think they've already done that. But if they tell the public that the only reason their prices are going up is because of the actions of Trump, Trump is going to attack them. Like I said, I would bet 2-to-1 with my own damn money. Absolutely. I paid 2-to-1 that he's absolutely going, damn near 3-to-1. That's absolutely what's going to happen. Is Trump is going to start attacking Walmart and any other well-known business that raises their prices and blames it on the tariffs. You're going to get attacked from Trump. He's going to be telling people to stop purchasing goods from that particular business. Continuing on, though, tap the screen. Get the likes on up to 20,000. We can certainly make that happen. You could be anywhere you want to be this Saturday evening. I appreciate you being here with your boy. You know how the program is. We don't block, ban, or censor any damn body. We go left to Bernie Sanders to him having dinner with Q. If you enjoy uncensored dialogue, where you can criticize anyone in the comment section, including the host, you're in the right place. Follow the damn program if you're watching on TikTok, a subscription on YouTube, if you will. Make America affordable again in the comments, I see someone stated. Going back to the box, we'll continue on with Andy. Good evening, Andy. Welcome to the program. And Antonio Perry's, I wanted to tell you thank you. I didn't see your comment. Something I was looking for from you. I can't find it. Antonio Perry, send that back to me in the inbox. Andy, good evening.
I don't know why you're talking about that constitutional crisis. It ain't gonna change.
Explain. Elaborate.
Trump is not doing anything that the Supreme Court told him to. Matter of fact, he's out on True Social, just running his mouth. He thinks he's above everybody.
So you're saying that even though they ruled he has to temporarily stop using his Alien Enemies Act, he's going to continue doing it?
Mm-hmm.
What evidence you have?
And look, that's not what I want to talk about. Why are we not talking about Don Jr. and how much money he's raking in over there in the Middle East for Daddy?
Andy, they're all fucking raking in. Elon's raking in. Trump is raking in. I mean, it doesn't end.
Remember how long? You brought it up earlier. Remember how long we had to talk about Hunter?
Get the laptop and Burisma.
Like that, yeah, those are some six-figure payments. Don Jr.'s getting some 7-figure payments.
Yeah.
Damn hosting clubs, got an investment firm that's got like buying into NASA. Like, come on now.
I don't have any pushback for that.
Between that and the plane, the corruption's written all over the wall, isn't it? And the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I don't have any pushback, but my guess is by the time Trump is done with the presidency, if they do some kind of like 60 Minutes expose or something, it'll be hundreds of billions of dollars that he and his associates profited while he was president. I mean, yeah, they're making insane amounts of money from everywhere. I don't have anything else to call it, but it looks like it's corrupt as hell. I don't have any other way to define that.
Because it is corrupt as hell. And look, you know what the upkeep on that plane is? Astronomical.
Yeah. But even though what you're talking about is something I also agree, it does look as if he is making a ton of money. I still got folks in the comments. For instance, King Dong says Trump, best president ever. They know this is happening, Andy, and they still love this guy. How can you explain that?
Because they're hypocrites. Same way they can say Joe Biden got to be president. Oh, you can't give student loan debts, but we voted for him to be a dictator. That's the nonsense they're saying. That's crazy talk. That's saying that I am selfish and I want what I want. I don't care who it hurts.
So wait a minute. You're
telling white people are the only racist people because they have the means of making the laws. The system was set up by them for them. You can't say different. Look at the Constitution.
So you're saying, wait.
Even the Civil Rights Act is just an act. It wasn't even an amendment. They didn't even go far enough to make it an amendment.
So you're saying that it's impossible for anyone else in America to be racist other than white people?
You be bigoted.
What is your definition of being racist?
They participated in the system they participated in making the system. And they made it that way on purpose. Bigoted is something else.
You're telling me you cannot be racist unless it's systemic? I gotta disagree with you. I think you can be black, you can be Hispanic, you can be Asian and be racist as well.
You can be bigoted. You can not like somebody and be a bigot, yeah. But I do think that the mechanisms that built the system that fucked us all, because the system's also misogynistic.
Where you're confusing me is you're making a suggestion that the only way a person can be racist to you is through the system, as if racism is only systemic. That's the only way it can happen. I just disagree with that. You can be racist towards people. Let's say Tyler Perry, who owns an entire producing outfit, a whole movie studio. If he chooses not to hire somebody white and only give positions to black people, is he not a racist?
Does he have the ability to change the system? See, that's my issue.
Yeah, I know. I get what you're saying, but what I'm saying is racism doesn't have to just be systemic. You can be individually racist. If you got a company and you're only hiring blacks, you're racist. You don't need the whole system behind you. You can do it by yourself.
You be prejudiced or you be a bigot. I mean, look at the other definitions to the word. I'm just using what we view today as how the system got the way it is, because it's never going to get fixed if we don't highlight that.
Yeah,
I mean, it's never going to get fixed.
Even at the systemic level, I'll tell you this: there's a lot of cities, particularly liberal cities, that have damn near an all-black government. You're going to tell me if the mayor of Chicago...
There's one state house that does, though.
But you might be trying to get
one state house. So
yeah.
Cities are minuscule in the cascade of power.
Not if you're trying to get
it's city, and then the county, and then the state, and then the feds. The cascade down. It is at the bottom level. I'm just saying that, like, until all the state houses are, then I'll agree with you.
Yeah, but Andy, if you're trying to get a valuable, high-paying city job, you don't care who's in control of the state house. If the city mayor is being discriminatory against you...
You're not making the overall laws of the state to change the system is what I'm saying. That's all. We ain't got to make it hard.
Listen, I'm from Chicago, where most of the government there is run by African Americans. If they don't want to hire you for a city job...
But he is still confined by the laws of the state of Alabama. Because we see that all the time. The state intervenes all the time in shit they should be minding their own business. Because, of course, Alabama. Like, Alabama's about to say that you can't, you have to give school prayer to get damn funding. Like, is that not crazy? Like, they're going to take 20% of the school's funding if they don't have prayer, the Pledge of Allegiance, and the Star Spangled Banner. Like, to me, that's just insane.
They're going to hold up federal funding if you don't have prayer in schools?
State funding.
State funding. So the state of Alabama is not going to fund city schools.
That's what they want to do. They took out the word Christian Geo. I can't say it now that I've thought about it. But the Christian prayer, they took that part out, so it just says prayer now.
But everybody know what. Everybody. I mean, it's not going to be a bunch of people praying to the Quran or the Allah.
King James book that they're going to read. Yeah, we all know.
Yeah. Wow. Well, I mean, listen, we know under Trump, a lot of places in this country are going far right. They talk about the transgender and all the liberal. Well, a lot of far right policies are being enacted as well. What you're talking about sounds like it's very far right.
See, I wonder if Georgia will still be far right after they see their power bills and the money of their property tax that jumped up because 3 data centers built in one county and caused the entire property for the whole state to go up. Other counties are pissed off, and it's using up power because they have that surge protection, same way Alabama and Mississippi and Louisiana do. Texas. Remember Texas? Everybody had to pay too much because of surge pricing. That's the same thing going on in Georgia. What's going to happen when that drives their power bills through the roof and then turns around and drives up their property tax? You think they're still going to be voting Republican?
Yes, I do, because if Walmart is going to increase their prices by 30% and Trump's going to attack Walmart and MAGA's probably going to follow him, do the same to the power companies. Yeah, I think that he still will be favored in Georgia. They'll just figure out the right person to blame, and it won't be Trump's fault.
So you're saying that cult-like mentality will...
I didn't say that.
We'll put the blame on somebody else.
I didn't use that word. I didn't use that.
Because that's the only way you can do that. That's the only way you can abandon common sense, look at what's costing you money, and then blame... No, I totally agree with you, Tim. You're right.
I didn't use that word.
That note, I'm going to let you go for today.
All right, Andy. Thank you for coming through. I didn't use that word. She did. Andy, always a pleasure. Thank you. You got me. Thank you.
Good. Look into...
Okay, she dropped. I don't know what I was going to figure out the last thing she had to say. But moving on, Walmart started more stores 1990. NAFTA was 1994. Okay, I don't know where you're going with that. Harris supporters clueless. Okay, I don't know where you got to add more to that shout out. Looking in the comments real quick, tap the screen. Get me on up to about 25,000. We can certainly make that happen if you tap the screen. Smash that like button if you're on YouTube as well. Help out the algorithm. Brings in more MAGA. That's what the FYP is set for, but liberals are welcome as well. Tap the screen, smash that like button. Looking in the comments, the host needs to think critically. That is aimed at me. Says he is still in the bubble. There is a big difference between discrimination and racism. Discrimination is individualistic, racism is systemic. I don't buy that. I'd have to look up the definition. If I'm wrong, damn it, I'd concede it. But I'm not in a position where I got my equipment like I normally am, so I can't look it up. But I do believe you can be racist without having a whole damn system behind you. I don't buy that. Does it say it under the definition? That you can only be racist if it's done systemically? I mean, like I said, if you own your own nightclub and you tell your employees, we play hip hop is for black people. I don't want to see no white people on my dance floor. Hell, I don't want to see them at the bar. That's your own little internal system. You own the club, you got people working for you, you're banning whites. How is that not racist? I mean, you can stop white people from opportunities as well. I don't understand how it's got to be systemic for it to be racist. And even at the systemic level, there's a lot of systems in place in America that are predominantly operated by people of color. Like I said, if you're trying to get a city job in a hell of a lot of big liberal cities, the whole organization is mostly ran by people of color. I'm not saying that racism doesn't exist. I'm not saying there's not a hell of a lot of white people in America that are racist. I'm saying that it doesn't make sense that only white people can be racist. I'm not buying that. I'd have to somebody got to show me some evidence, a little bit more. I'd have to see it. Looking in the comments, tariffs aren't taxes. Other countries had over 200% tariffs on America, so explain why they have them and we don't. Tariffs are taxes. If you don't want to call it a tax, how about just a price increase? If you don't like the word tax, I can work with that. Let's just say this. If it's going to cost me more to get the item that I'm selling to you, I'm going to charge you more for that item. You don't have to call it a tax. You can call it anything you want. But at the end of the day, you're going to pay more for what you used to buy from me than you used to. If the word tax turns you off, we can call it something else. I'm with that. Just as long as at the end of the day, you pay me the extra money. If you want to call it bullshit, you want to call it, Chinese garbage, whatever you want to call it, we can work with that. Just as long as you pay me that. Pick any name you want. If you don't like taxes, we can go with that. Look at it in the comments. Only if the law tells you you can't go in because of your color. Systemic racism. If I own a club and I'm telling all my employees what I am the law in my club. What I say goes. That is the law. It doesn't have to be, you're trying to say it has to be governmental. If I'm discriminating against you and I'm in a position of power, you can be in a position of power in a variety of ways that have nothing to do with government. I don't like trying to tailor a word or a definition to only target one people when somebody else can do the same thing. So in other words, if a white person can't get a job because blacks refuse to hire him, that white person is wrong to call them racist? We would. If a white club owner wouldn't let black people in there, they wouldn't be calling him a bigot. They wouldn't be claiming he's discriminating. They'd be calling him a racist. That's what we would do. But if we do the same thing, it doesn't apply to us? How does that work? Listen, you got to be able to see both sides of an issue. Looking in the comments, in Alabama, says, Will G, a bill was proposed that would mandate a daily pledge of allegiance and prayer considered with Christian values in public schools. Failure to comply could result in a 25% reduction. Project 2025, here we are. You're going to hold up money to schools if the kids are not forced to pledge allegiance and get involved in prayer. Both being nothing but absolute propaganda. Let me tell you this before we go on to the next caller. Damn it, tap the screen, get the likes up to 25,000. Remember all the LGBTQ stuff? I don't want shit being shoved down my kid's throat in school. A child should have to wait till they're 18 to decide if they want to become a girl or a boy or transgenders or whatever. Why can't they decide at 18 what religion they want to be part of? Why does that have to be forced on a young, impressionable kid? You're going to take a little elementary school child and read a bunch of books to them telling them that if they don't believe in God, they're going to burn up in hell eternally. And you're going to tell me that that ain't propaganda? Little kid coming home afraid that he might burn in hell if he don't believe what's in the book? But we don't want the transgender shit taught because that is forcing shit down our kids' throat. Meanwhile, you got the kids standing up talking about I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and he don't know what the hell it means to pledge allegiance to a nation. I thought we weren't for propaganda. I thought we were against shoving shit down the throats of kids. Perhaps we are for it, as long as the shit is flavored with the proper corn. Somebody let me know whether we're for propaganda or not. I like propaganda when it's religious. I like it when it's patriotic. Then you like propaganda. You're picking and choosing what you like and what you hate. That's hypocrisy. Going back to the box, are we at 25,000? Tap the screen, get the likes up. Florida Blonde for you, baby. My heart belongs to one man, President Trump. I'm not calling anybody property of a cult. But when you say shit like that, what is this? As Gopinder or whatever, Goopinder, your heart belongs to President Trump. Look, if the man is doing what's right by the country, so be it. He's a good president. You can like him for the economy or whatever it is. Your heart? Ain't that the shit you say about your wife, your husband? Your heart? Oh my God. Jesus Christ. Maybe you can go by P. Diddy's old house and pick up some of that oil he got later. Let me go back in the box. Your heart is not what he's grabbing, honey. Going back to the box. Wow, my heart. Jesus. Jesus Christ. Bless the man. Bless the man. Going back to the box. D-A-S-A. DASA? Is that what that's saying there? Good evening. Welcome to the program. Does that say DASA? Are you there? D-A-S-A. Okay, apparently he's not there. We'll move it on. Is her heart with Eastern too? I don't know what that part means, but my heart, I think that was a guy that said that. Trump is awesome. America first, says David. I don't know. Have we seen any true evidence that we're operating under an American first government? I mean, a whole lot of federal employees have been laid off, and we haven't done anything for those people. They're Americans. I mean, is it certain Americans first? No, I thought he was a globalist. The way he's acting over there in Saudi Arabia, I think Trump is just getting paid. That's my opinion. We'll go to MAGA Reacts. Good evening, MAGA. Now, good evening. Are you there?
Yeah, of course.
Hey, good to have you back on. The Supreme Court has stopped Trump with this Alien Enemies Act from 1789. So I want to ask you, because Trump stated that we were being invaded, which is why he was using that as a reason to legitimize using this act from the 1700s. Do you believe that we are being invaded on the southern border?
Well, not anymore. It stopped.
What is your definition of an invasion?
Just people coming over of adult age, I guess, and taking over the country.
Taking over the country in what way? How has America been taken over?
What do you mean? Literally, a lot of people are coming into the country. That's how a place gets taken over. I mean, look at what happened in Jordan. A bunch of Palestinians took over the place, and it went from being a Christian country in like the 70s to a Muslim countries in the 80s to today.
Now, I'm going to give you something that is tied into this. Now, we're going to step away from what we're talking about, but I'm going to show you how it links up. On January 6th, folks said that could not have been an insurrection or an invasion because the people didn't have weapons. Now, you're saying that we were invaded by people who took over the country. They didn't do it with weapons either. So by you saying that even though they were unarmed, they invaded America, and as you say, took it over, then you're admitting that on January 6th, they invaded and took over the Capitol building without weapons too, right?
Not really.
Take your time. Take your time.
I'm just following. Shit, I don't even know how to answer that.
You can say yes.
They're not invaders.
You can answer it by saying yes.
The thing is, the difference is, these people are coming over to claim their land and claim property and claim money. The protesters on January 6th protested. They came in, they wanted to be heard, and they left. They weren't trying to take over the Capitol and stay there forever.
Hold on.
The invader is trying to take over the place forever.
Claim their land and claim their land and claim money. Who is doing that?
I mean, immigrants. They're coming here for the American dream, but they're doing it illegally, and they're claiming, they're not coming here and being unemployed. They're taking jobs, so they're taking money that normally would be given to an American, and they're renting properties that could be rented by an American.
How are they claiming land?
I mean, even me, I'm an immigrant, and I came over here and fucking claimed my house, a couple of houses and businesses, and took my share of the American dream, except I did it legally.
How do you legally get to come? I mean, you have to pay for everything you have, right?
Yeah.
You can do that anywhere. You can leave America. I know when I moved to Australia, because I owned properties in Chicago and I had sold them when I moved overseas, I looked into buying property in Australia. You could do that anywhere. That's not an invasion. You could claim land anywhere if you're going to pay for it.
You had the right to legally work in Australia. A lot of these people are illegally working.
You don't need the right to Trump owns land in a host of countries. He don't have the right to legally work. If you got enough money, you can claim land anywhere. You don't need to have the right. You don't need to have work rights to purchase land in other countries.
I guess. Listen, I'm just working with the metaphor you gave me. The people who went into the Capitol were not trying to take over the Capitol. The people that coming here illegally are taking over. You know, the Haitians took over that place in Ohio.
What would be the wait? You're saying the people that went into the Capitol were not trying to take it over. What would be how would you describe a group that was trying to take it? What would a group that's trying to take over the Capitol building do that's differently from what they did on January 6th?
Well, they would come with weapons. They would keep it or burn it down. They wouldn't just walk in and walk out.
What do you mean they would burn it down? That ain't taking it over. That's destroying it.
In history, you know, usually the invaders come in. Either they occupy the place and occupy it forever, or they destroy it and run away. That's usually what happens when you take over an enemy's location.
We took over Iraq. We occupied it for a while, and we left, and we even rebuilt some of it, a small portion of it, and that was an invasion. They went into the Capitol building, they tore some stuff up, and they left after a period. Same thing we did in Iraq, and that was absolutely an invasion in Iraq, was it not?
Yeah, and we took it from Saddam.
Right.
We definitely invaded and took it from Saddam and gave it to Iraqi friends.
And they took the Capitol building from Congress in the Senate because they fled and retreated. Everybody in the building left and ran off. They did the same thing.
Listen, I don't care what you say about them wanting to kill Mike Pence and all that other shit. Their goal was never to occupy the Capitol. Who on January 6th had any goal of occupying the Capitol for any period of time? No, their goal was to be heard, and that was it. No. There was no, even like the Brad Boys and all those guys had no notion of occupying the Capitol in any way.
MAGA.
Hostage like they did in the colleges.
MAGA. Do you think, okay, you said their goal was to be heard. Do you think you're going to enter any dwelling or structure the way they did and have people inside listen to you? Do you think breaking windows, climbing walls, what do you think you're going to do? Do all of that, get inside, and then have a peaceful conversation with people? Your goal is to be heard, listened to?
You get heard by protesting. I mean, that's just protesting. That's protesting. That's what the goal of protesting is from the beginning. Like, it's not like we invented protesting.
I'm trying to figure out, once you go into a
protest, your goal is to be heard by making a lot of noise. And by going places where, you know, where the people in power will hear you.
You ever heard of the term home invasion?
Yes.
A home invasion generally means you go in a house, you're probably coming in and take some shit and you leave. What's the difference between that and what happened on January 6th? They went in there, they took some shit, and they left. What's the difference?
The goal was never to go in there and steal shit. The goal wasn't to loot. No one was there to loot.
But they did that.
More like trolling or more like souvenirs than anything.
Do you have You said that was not their goal. Do you have a mission statement or a link or something you can show me what the January 6th mission statement was?
People, of all the things they could loot, they decided to loot the Capitol and not like the CVS or the Walmart or anything where there's actual stuff worth taking.
I'm just trying to figure out what they did differently than what would be classified as an invasion. They went in there, they took control of the building.
Where it wouldn't be a protest.
What?
What makes January 6th not a protest? How is it different than any other protests that we've had the last 3 years? Like in that time period, with all the BLM protests that year. How was the January 6th different from any of the BLM protests?
Because once you start going and destroying property, it's no longer a protest. That's a riot. What they did on the lawn while Trump was speaking. Hold on. What they did on the lawn while Trump and Giuliani and Bannon was speaking to him, that's a protest. What they did in the Capitol building, they're not even saying anything. They're just tearing up shit. They're just literally going through the building looking for the guys yelling Nancy Pelosi and hang Mike Pence. That's not a protest. That's a riot.
Look, it's a protest because most of what they tore up was barricades. They weren't trying to destroy the Capitol. They were just trying to penetrate the Capitol to get more inside, to protest even more. It was stupid. I don't fucking support it. But the goal wasn't to fucking destroy the place or rob the place. Their goal was to be heard, and they wanted to really get in there to be heard by Congress and to be heard by senators.
So the guy walking around.
How many people sneak into the Capitol and pretend to be like observers, and the second a senator starts talking, they fucking make noise and protest, and they get kicked out.
So the guy walking through the rotunda with the Confederate flag, he was just protesting?
Yes.
What was he protesting?
He wasn't going around destroying shit. He wasn't spray painting the place and burning it down.
You can't have a riot unless there's destruction. I mean, which there was plenty of that day, but I guess the point I'm making is if you don't consider genuine...
You always get me in these black holes. Why does any of this matter?
Because you just fall in this shit as we're talking. You're trying to suggest...
You set me up. Like, I want to get on here and talk about all kinds of other shit, and you just get me in these black holes every time.
Because you're saying something. And it relates to things you said previously. But when I bring up things you said previously, you go on a run. Huh?
You're asking me about like weird narratives. Like,
okay.
These are just sayings. It's not like 100% fact. Even though like Trump's trying to use it to deport these people, most of this shit is just rhetoric more than anything.
He's claiming it's an invasion. Is that rhetoric?
I mean, these are people coming in here without our permission. So
that's not true.
That's how it's an invasion.
That's not true, MAGA. Under Biden, the majority of people that came in this country.
Someone enters your house without your permission. Isn't that home invasion?
But that's not what happened. Under Biden, the majority of immigrants that came here were asylum seekers, and under Biden, the way they came here was legal. You didn't agree with Biden letting them in like that. That's fine, but he was exercising his presidential powers to use his executive actions, just like we don't agree with what Trump is doing. But Biden was letting them in via a legal method.
Who had an asylum that got deported?
What?
Who had an asylum that got deported? Like
I'm answering that. Everybody who came in under Biden seeking asylum, if they are not an American citizen, Trump has tossed out all of their cases. They all have to leave. So you ask who? All of them do. All of the ones that had pending cases, all of them got to leave.
I don't know like the details of that. I know like with Garcia, he had his asylum denied, and I haven't heard.
They all do. If you came in Americas and you put in an asylum claim under the Biden administration, chances are you've been told you got to leave. It's as simple as that. All of them. He pretty much invalidated everybody that Biden allowed to come here under the asylum statute. All of them.
Okay, I gotta look that up. I really don't know the status of pending asylums. If he canceled all of them or what. Okay. I know he canceled like all pending DEI stuff, but that's different.
He took down the whole damn app. All of their cases, all of them got to go. Everybody that pleaded, everybody that came in claiming asylum under Trump, if they haven't been sent the letter telling them they got to go, they've already been kicked out. All of them is your answer.
I don't think Trump has the power to do that.
You realize how much shit Trump is doing that he don't have the power to do? That don't mean nothing.
Okay.
You don't have the power.
While Trump did not explicitly cancel pending asylum applications in the sense of outright dismissing them, his administration implemented policies that significantly impacted the process and outcome of asylum claims. So he didn't cancel any asylum. He just made it harder.
No.
And he made them wait in Mexico. Let me see, what else did he do? He brought back remain in Mexico. He did another safe third country agreement. He just did shit to make it harder, like get rid of the app, but he didn't cancel any pending ones.
So what you're saying that if you came in under Biden and you're pleading asylum and you have a case, under Trump you can still stay in the country and that case can still progress?
You still have the case.
No.
So pending the case, you can stay in the country.
You are 100% wrong. Somebody in the comments said to ask you, where the hell are you researching? Where are you getting this information? Because you are flat out wrong.
The Google AI spit it out.
Okay. Well, I'm telling you, under Trump, once Trump became...
we have separation of power, and asylum is not a power of the executive. It's a power of the judicial. So unless he controls every asylum judge in the country, It's on the asylum judges to accept or cancel pending asylums.
Okay.
You know?
All I can tell you is what you're saying is flat out wrong. If I was in front of my own computer to push back, I would. But I'm 100% certain that when Trump became president, all of the folks that had open asylum cases suddenly became fugitives. They have to go. You're flat out wrong on this. I just can't give you the information right now because of how I'm doing it live. But
let's just agree to disagree and not like fall into another black hole.
Okay. Well,
so the reason I came on here is your previous guy was saying how like we're the cult and we're the one that just, you know, how are we the cult when you're the ones that get gaslighted all the time? Like the Democrat Party, all it does is gaslight its people. You know, they told you Biden was fine. They told you the economy was good. They told you inflation was temporary. They told you the crime was not a problem. They told you the border was not a problem. They told you Trump was Russia's puppet and Putin's puppet. What else did they tell you? They tell you it's okay for Hunter Biden to be collecting money all over the world. It's okay for men to play in women's sport. None of the wars are Biden's fault. None of the inflation is Biden's fault. They told us Trump's a felon.
Okay. All right. Let me tell you why. Let me tell you why. What you're saying is right. Let me respond to you. First of all, most of the stuff you said, there are plenty of liberals pushing back, such as you said that Biden is okay. Even George Clooney and George Stephanopoulos from ABC were clearly saying that Biden is not okay. Plenty of liberals that were saying he's not okay. Plenty of liberals were saying Genocide Joe has got to go. You don't hear anybody on the MAGA side saying Trump has got to go. There are plenty of liberals.
We're happy with what he's doing, though.
What?
I mean, we're happy with what he's doing.
That's the point. That's the point I'm making. Is no matter what Trump does, MAGA's going to ride with him. Biden, there was a lot of things that Biden did that liberals were like, you need to step down, you need to go.
Okay. The problem is you're telling me all the shit that happened in like the last 6 months of Biden. We're in the first 3 or 4 months of Trump. Nobody was saying any of that shit the first 4 months of Biden. None of that shit was being said the first 4 months of Biden. Nobody was saying Biden was old and, you know, and senile and not in control the first 4 months.
Because there wasn't, okay, I can answer that by simply saying the first 3 or 4 months of Biden, he wasn't on TV 100 fucking times. There was not enough evidence to come to the same conclusion. Like how he looked on the June 27 debate where he didn't even know where he was at and shit. All of the times he was falling down. None of that had happened in the first 3 or 4 months. That's why they weren't saying
all that shit in the 2019 campaign. Why do you think they were hiding him in the basement? All that shit was there in the 2019 campaign. It might have not been as bad as the debate, but it was all there. All the signs were there.
Well,
but you guys denied it then, and you said it was a stutter.
Well,
it's not getting old. It's a fucking stutter.
Well, it sounds like you're more likely accurate than not about them hiding him, but he's hidden. People are not. You're not gonna have a whole bunch of people saying the guy is old and senile if they're not seeing him. If they're hiding him, people might just think he's doing his job.
It was obvious, and you guys gaslit us and told us he was fine even back then when we saw it even back then. And you know, you guys want us to turn on Trump, but it's only been 3 months. I mean, if in 4 years Trump is as bad as Biden and I'm still fucking supporting him, you could call me a cultist then. But so far it's only been 3-4 months, and the man hasn't done enough. I mean, it's all everything you're talking about is all about rhetoric and shit he said. I hate about shit he said. I want to see the results of him being president.
So in other words, as long as he's doing what's right by this country, he can literally say anything.
Yeah, saying shit doesn't count. It's what you do that counts.
Really?
You know, he fucking thinks out loud and he's on TV way too much. And the side effect of that is a lot of dumb shit.
So what if he is giving this country a really good economy, he's gotten all the wars to end, and America's doing very well, but he has been caught on tape saying I'm a racist and I think poorly of blacks, and he's caught to the point where he comes out and admits it. But everybody says, well, look at the economy. Should blacks overlook that because he's doing great? That's just racism is just something he said. Should you overlook that?
If he does everything right and he's got just that one folly, at that point I would overlook it. But if everything was shit and he said that, then yeah. Because there's a lot of racist people that did good shit for even blacks and, you know, and immigrants like myself. You know?
I rest my case. I got to move it on, MAGA Reacts. Thank you for coming through.
No problem.
All right. I didn't make him say that. I did not make him say it. Tap the screen, get the likes up. Wow. I'm just going to emphasis on wow. Tap the screen, get us on up to 35,000. By the way, my humble opinion, you can tell me if I'm stretching. You can tell me if you think I'm full of shit. You know, I don't mind any criticism whatsoever. But my humble opinion is most MAGA agree with his answer to that last question. I believe that most Trump supporters agree with his answer to that last question. As long as the economy in the country is being ran properly, yeah, I don't think most Trump supporters would care. I think he's 100% on to something. I don't agree with his answer. I don't like his answer. But I believe that his answer is more likely representative of a lot of Trump supporters than not. So I want to leave it like that. Tap the screen. He was a Latino for Trump. No, I think MAGA Reacts is part Egyptian. Think so. I mean, I think so. Tap the screen. Get the likes on up to about 35,000. I want to go to the next caller, but get the likes up. Looking in the comments here. I want to make sure I didn't miss anything here. Real quick. Trump had 60 days without a public appearance. His first term, Biden went 34 days. I'm trying to figure out what you are referring to there. Trump is the man, period, says Joseph Munoz. Okay. They don't care now, and Trump is doing horribly. Well, it depends on who you ask. I don't think Trump is doing horribly, depending on who you ask. Get us up to 35,000. We'll take the next caller. I'll tell you this, in regards to Trump, if you lean right, if you're MAGA, Trump is doing a good job because there's a lot of ceremonial victories that Trump, look, I don't believe that the average Trump supporter financially is doing significantly better due to Trump's policies. But there's a lot of things you can celebrate that Trump is doing that may not affect you financially directly, such as his protecting of Women's Sports Act or whatever the hell it's called. A lot of Trump supporters, a hell of a lot of Americans, not even just Trump supporters, a lot of independents and even some liberals like that. That's a ceremonial victory. And when I say ceremonial, I mean it's something that you're happy he's done, even though it won't make a damn bit of a difference on your life. That's a good example of something. And he's got a lot of those type of things out there. Some of this stuff that is happening with immigrants, for instance. A lot of people that are celebrating this live in areas where they're not having any issue with illegal immigrants at all. There are no MS-13 or Trinidad Agua anywhere in their area. But it makes them feel good to know it's been taken care of in other parts of the country. Same thing with DEI. You got folks who live in neighborhoods, counties, and damn near cities that are all white celebrating the eradication of DEI. There's nobody in your neighborhood but people that look like you. This makes no difference in your life at all. Yeah, but I like the fact they did it in Boston. So there's a lot of ceremonial victories that Trump is accomplishing. But as I stated, it doesn't make an actual difference in your life. Go after Fonnie Willis. You know, going after some of the liberal elites that people don't like. That's a ceremonial victory if you can take some of them folks down. Once again, it doesn't make a difference in your life at all, but it makes you happy to know it took place. That's what Trump has a lot of wins in that category. Ceremonial victories. He's winning like crazy in that category. Defeating the impeachments, defeating the charges. That's all stuff that MAGA is really enjoying. Fair enough, but it's not making a difference in their lives at all. It's ceremonial. Looking in the comments, the women's sports is about the only thing he has done that I agree with. Putting religion in schools. You heard one of my callers talk about doing that. Tap the screen, get us up to 35. A lot of folks like that. Jojo, you guys are always looking for bad situation, but can't just let Trump cook. Judge him at the end of his 4 years. Who the hell does that, Joseph Munoz? You're saying that the liberals are always looking for a bad situation, but cannot just let Trump cook. Judge him at the end of his 4 years. Who does that? Remember Mitch McConnell stated on the House floor his goal was to make Obama a one-term president. Nobody waits till you're all the way done to judge you. If they think you're fucking up the country, they're going to say something when they think you're fucking up the country. Did Trump wait till Obama or Biden had completed their 4 years before he started judging them? So why should he get a pass? That makes no sense at all. Trump was heavily critical of both Obama and Biden throughout their presidencies. He didn't wait till the 4 years were up. But you want him to get that type of privilege, huh? Let me go back to the box. We'll continue on with Michael, friend of the program. Good evening, Mike. Welcome to the show. We're talking about the SCOTUS stopping President Trump. And Trump was using the Alien Enemies Act, suggesting that we were under an invasion. Do you agree with Trump that we were being invaded? Therefore, we needed to use this act.
No, we were never under invasion, Tim. First of all, tap the screen, share the live. 269 people up in here. Let's get Tim up to about 50,000 real quick.
Appreciate it.
Do that. 3 minutes of power tapping. We can get Tim up to 50,000 easy. Except for MAGA React, you got to get your thumbs out Trump's ass to be able to tap the screen. So no, no, it wasn't an invasion. It wasn't an invasion. They used those words so they could invoke that act. That's what that was for. But we knew that, Tim. Yeah. There's nothing that I just said that we were not talking about before the election. We were literally talking about him using all of those invasions and poisoning the blood,
vermin,
all the vermin, all of those were leading up to trying to get that Enemy Aliens Act invoked. Period. Yep. And we said it before the election. It's not like that's new. So now the courts upheld this because Trump didn't have a good day yesterday. But here's the thing. Now he wants to send 1 million Palestinians to Libya. You saw that, right?
Palestinians in this country?
No, not here.
Oh, he's gonna take Gaza by doing that.
He's trying to take 1 million Palestinians out of Gaza and send them to Libya. They reported that yesterday.
Who's going to stop him? Mike, I got to ask you, we know how Netanyahu feels. He'll celebrate it because he gets the land. Who's going to stop him? If Trump does this, who around the world because let's be clear, I don't agree with it no more than you do, but my guess is he could probably get away with it. Who's going to stop him?
To be honest with you, Tim, I don't know. But my point in bringing it up is this. I thought MAGA reacts and then voted for America first. I thought they voted for fewer conflicts, world peace, and all this other shit that he's doing none of. And now we're talking about sending 1 million people from Palestinians out of Gaza to Libya. If that's not the most inhumane shit on top of what he's already doing. You didn't read that yesterday?
No, I didn't. I was busy yesterday. I didn't do anything newsworthy. I'll tell you this, though. If what you're saying is true, and I have no reason to not believe you, my guess is this. I think Trump is in a position where he only has one or two options. Either he absolutely has to be a dictator, or he is going to go out the way traditionally dictators do, meaning that, incarcerated or somebody takes his life. I mean, if you're going to steal somebody's land like that and send people to Libya, I mean, the entire planet is going to be calling for this guy. I mean, I don't know what else to. I mean, war crime, whatever you want to come up with, but I mean that's literally just straight up land theft.
Yes, it is, and here's the thing. So the court shot him down on the Enemy Aliens Act yesterday.
Yeah.
Then the talk about 1 million Palestinians, 1 million to Libya. Then our credit rating got dropped yesterday. Right? Then his budget didn't get passed because his party shot it down because they're talking about increasing the deficit by 4 to 6 trillion. His party did not pass it yesterday. So, but all this winning though, where's all the winning coming
the
from?
winning is there, Mike. I did it. My live before last stated that Trump.
I heard you.
Yeah, he is winning. No, it's not bullshit. Trump has probably made more money in his first 4 months of his presidency than he did his entire life combined. He's probably made more money in the last 4 months than the previous 70-some years. He is winning his ass off. You just aren't winning.
Well, no. Here's the thing. When I say where's the winning, I'm not talking about him because we knew it was a grip from the beginning. We knew it was a grip for him. I'm talking about for his supporters. I'm talking about for the MAGA reaction. They're going, we won and we're winning. What the fuck are they winning right now?
I told you,
What are they winning right now?
well, let me tell you, like I said, ceremonial. For me, in my opinion, the way I look at Trump, it's like when your home team wins the Super Bowl or they win the World Series and you go, well, we won it all in 2025. No, you didn't win anything. But you feel like because you're part of it, you know, we won that year. Even though you got your ass up and went to work like everybody else, you might have went to the bar and bought a beer to celebrate, but you didn't win anything. But that's how folks feel. When Trump beat the impeachments, when the 34 felony counts went nowhere, it feels like we won. That's why I do believe that it's ceremonial.
It's bullshit, but it's a grift. It's a cult. It's no. What happened to? I got all of these countries, these 200 countries when there's not 200 countries, 200 countries kissing his ass to make these deals. Isn't that what he said?
Yeah.
Right. So, but yesterday he said the U.S. will send letters to some of the trading partners to unilaterally impose tariffs because he says Washington lacks the capacity to reach individual trade deals. This was yesterday. He said that yesterday. I didn't say it. He said it.
Well, I mean, like you heard what MAGA React said about racism and things like that. My opinion is this: if you like Trump, I think he's infallible. I mean, I think he's flawless at this point. I think, yeah, he could do something that's a little bit, but I mean, the liberals look so fucking bad, so unappealing to folks on the right that there is nothing Trump is going to do that's going to make them risk, you know, ostracizing Trump for fear of a liberal taking over because they believe the liberals are going to just destroy the whole damn country.
Well, yeah, but again, that's all fallacy. All the things they say that the left is doing, the right has been doing, fear mongering, completely disregarding facts, completely not even listening to the words that are coming out of his mouth, and then they say that's what the left is doing. So it's crazy. You're right. I don't disagree with you. The ones that support him are going to support him no matter what. Yeah. They're going to support him even when the truth comes out, when he says one thing and does another, when we see the impacts of these terrorists, when we see the impacts of how the courts are literally, and then he turns around and attacks SCOTUS.
Let me tell you how to. You said what?
Then he turns around and attacks the Supreme Court.
Yeah, well, I mean, and we know who stood by him, even with this enemy's alien. I mean, Alito and Clarence Thomas.
And you know why? Listen, because they all got dirt on him. Think about this, Tim. Think about this. He has turned his back at times. It's all week to week. It's all transactional. On Russia at one point, then Ukraine, then Israel, then Gaza, and then back to Israel, and then back to Ukraine, and then back. I mean, and then Mexico and Canada. It's so upset. We've never seen this in the history of this country. Not like this. This is ridiculous.
People loving it.
This is ridiculous. But here's the thing. That's because they don't want to admit that they're in a cult. They don't, because the results aren't true. I talked to 2 farmers on this app earlier. 2 farmers today who were voted for Trump are extremely concerned about these tariffs. It's not what they voted for. That's not what they thought was going to happen. Both of them simultaneously said the same thing, right? So, because that's not what
but let me ask him, you should have asked him this. If they could have another election today, Trump versus Kamala, knowing what you're knowing, would you vote for Kamala?
I always ask.
And?
Both of them. One answered and the other one didn't. So one answered and said if they knew this is not what they voted for, they would not have voted for him had they known this. The other one didn't want to answer it because they're down the path like MAGA Reacts. There's nothing. Listen, MAGA React would bottle Trump's shit and sell it as cologne. He doesn't see anything, right? He doesn't see the idea. Let me see. Did you hear about this? This is why we push back. There were ICE agents that misled a judge in order to gain access of a home of a student that they thought was harboring fugitives, and they lied to the judge.
Bro, they got Trump.
They lied to the judge, and now they unsealed the the information, the court case, and they lied to the judge, so they got Trump. But my point is, Trump's rhetoric, his supporters, his administration is allowing and promoting this behavior. You saw how Pam Bondi sat in front of Congress and got
Yeah.
man, she got her ass ripped off
Yeah.
yesterday, and she still couldn't answer the question. I mean,
I don't
this
think
is
I don't honestly. I don't with the current Congress and all of that. To me, it's all for show. At the end of the day, Trump rules. Trump's going to get what he wants. All the rest of this shit is just semantics. I mean, they don't have to answer the question or provide any decent explanation. Trump is going to get his way regardless.
Well, you know what, he is, but again, Tim, whether he gets his way or not, it's acknowledging what's happening along the way. It's realizing that he is racist. It realizes that executive orders are targeted to marginalized black and brown people and women. Just like, for example, Adriana, the young 30-year-old mom in Georgia, who was on life support because of the overturning of Roe v. Wade and the restrict AB laws in Georgia.
Oh yeah, when they're keeping the woman as a vegetable because she's got a live fetus in her.
Yes. Yes, but here's the thing. Now, here's how disingenuous the media is. If you go online and look right now, there's a picture of her in a blue dress, and she's holding her stomach, right? She's holding her stomach because she's pregnant,
She's
right?
dead. She is dead, basically.
But that picture that they're putting up of her pregnant, they're putting it out there as if she was that far along in this current pregnancy. That was a picture from her first pregnancy.
Wow. Yeah, from what I heard, they could detect a fetal heartbeat. I mean, she was very early on, but because they could detect a little bit of life from the embryo, because it wasn't even a fetus, it was an embryo, if I'm correct. They actually, because they could detect that from her dead body, their law requires them to keep her alive, and the family has no say-so in it at all.
Correct.
I mean,
correct. So a dentist core, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about, because when this story broke, at the time she was 9 weeks. Then, actually less than 9 weeks. She's been on ventilator. They've been keeping her alive for the last 90 days, right? So my point is, this is the law. After Roe v. Wade is overturned, this is some inhumane shit.
Yeah.
Because the baby has some medical issue. Did you know that?
No, but it sounds logical considering that the mom is essentially dead. I mean, they're using the mom as an incubator at this point.
Yes. And they can't do anything because the laws won't allow them. And this is what happens when Roe v. Wade gets overturned and you return it to the states with some bullshit. And then this is what happens to women. But see, this is what happens with people like Bake Boss and other men in the chat that don't really care about women.
Yeah, but I gotta push back on slightly. You're saying Bake Boss and you're using men and saying this is what happens when men don't care about women. Trump won the women's vote. White women in particular voted overwhelmingly in favor of Trump. And it wasn't like they didn't know that Trump had this stuff coming down the pipe. So you can't, I tell this to women all the time, they get mad and say that Trump is sexist or anti-women. I'm like, you didn't talk to your own gender. A lot of women voted for Trump.
100%. I'm talking about on this live with the men in the
okay.
comments.
All right.
Yeah, I'm talking about these ignorant motherfuckers because they don't do any research, right? And then so anyone that responds to this case with the whataboutisms and the buts, they just don't give a fuck. Because at the end of the day, this is exactly why the law and the laws and return it to the states, and the states have weak laws, or they enact these very restrictive laws, and it puts women in harm's way.
But do you give Trump? And I see in the comments, Andy said you know the women have internalized this misogyny as well. But let me ask you this: do you see, or do you give Trump credit for the fact that the liberals have been saying that Trump is going to impose a federal abortion ban? He hasn't done it, and he hasn't stated he's going to do it. Do he get credit for following up? Because he said I want to give it back to the states. That's what he's done. He's actually kept his word. He hasn't went federal
yet. I mean, shit, Tim. It's 120 days. Listen about this topic, Tim. It's 120 days. He hasn't got to it yet. He got enough on his plate. But here's the thing. This is the grift. All of this is about money. Every time Trump says something, before he finishes his statement, it always goes back to money. It doesn't go back to the people. It doesn't go back to the American people. Every time he says something, he ends about the economic impact on whatever the thing is. It doesn't matter what it is. He's bitching at Walmart today.
Yeah.
You saw that shit,
Yeah,
right?
he's threatening Walmart, telling them he's going to be watching them in the customer. Yeah, he's talking about if they pass the tariffs on, he's going to essentially probably call for a boycott of Walmart.
And I'm going to be watching, and you need to eat it and shut the fuck up and don't say it's because of us. So everything comes back to this ultimate grip. The whole thing in guitar, with guitar and the whole plane, but you can go back to a video where he was vilifying Guitar 4 when he was campaigning against Hillary. He was talking about guitar. I mean, come on, Tim. Listen, this is about money. And then, is this a coincidence to you or not? You take the plane from Guitar, this whole deal with Boeing, and then the very next day, the DOJ drops the actual criminal charges against Boeing for the plane crash from last year. Is all of that a coincidence?
Yeah, I don't have any push. You know, like I get accused of fluffing by you and everybody else for pushing back. I don't have any pushback on that stuff. I think it's pretty clear at this point that if you put money in the right place under the Trump administration, you can make shit you need to have happen. A lot of folks voted for Trump because they suggest that, unlike other presidents in the past, he already has his own money, so he can't be bought. But then he became president, and that's literally all that has been happening, is that he's been chasing the almighty dollar and selling himself out. He clearly can be bought. I don't think that's even up for debate. He absolutely can be bought.
He is the prostitute in chief.
Yeah, he clearly absolutely wants more money. So the idea, well, he already has his own money, he can't be bought, he's not even taking a salary. Since he's become president, that is all he has been doing, is finding ways to get paid. So he clearly wants more money. I don't know what he had in terms of how many billions of dollars he was worth before becoming president, but he absolutely wants more, and he wants a lot more.
He's being tossed around like a $3 prostitute. Listen,
I don't know about all that, but damn, go ahead.
Okay, you don't think so? You don't think that show they just did over there when he went over to the Middle East? You don't think that show and that purple carpet and all that to make him feel good? You don't think that you don't think they're setting his ass up for? Come on, Tim. Listen, because he's an easy mark. He's an easy mark. Stroke his ego, give him a few dollars. Do you think that money's significant to them?
No. I mean, I can't argue with you. If you schmooze Trump and you grease his palm, you can get in good. You can get in good with him. I don't think anyone who disagrees with that, I would ask to provide an example of somebody who spoke favorably of Trump and put money in the right direction, and he kicked him to the curb. If you schmooze his palm, if you schmooze him and grease his palm, you can get him to forgive anything. I don't have any way to see another side of that. It's pretty clear that's what's happening.
There is no other side of it. And I'm going to land my plane here, and this is the period on the end of this entire conversation. Now, this man took these gangs and these cartels, and he named them T groups. Then this motherfucker turns right around and gives 17 members of El Chapo's family, he lets them into the U.S. This was it Thursday or Friday?
I don't know. I heard about it yesterday, so I'm going to say Friday.
17 members of El Chapo's family, he allows to come to this country legally. The very people that you named a cartel T group. So when I told you it wasn't about rapists and murderers pouring into the country and all of that shit, because if it was, why would you ever let the very people that you just deemed a T group, their family?
Well, I'll tell you this. He's let Kim Jong-un in the country, and he's invited Putin to come to the country before. Putin turned it down, but he invited him as well. And you talk about people who are rapists and murderers. Ain't nobody killed more people coming from the southern border to have numbers like Kim Jong-un or Putin. And he's let them. So yeah, if you grease his palm and you say the right shit, all this. I mean, Khashoggi, the guy they hacked up to pieces in Saudi Arabia. If you hand him the right things he's looking for and say the right shit about him, all is forgiven. I don't think there's any way to deny that. Mike, I give you the last word.
Real quick, and I'm gonna let you go. The guy he shook hands with in Syria the other day, wasn't he involved in 9/11? He was protected At the time, they were moving his ass around. He was wanted. I know Andy knows what I'm talking about. He was wanted, and now he's in power, and he meets with him and shakes his hand. See, all of this shit is bullshit, Tim. Everything we've been talking about, he is the prostitute in chief. That's who he is. He's up for sale. He will twerk. He will shake that orange ass. He will get fluffed by his supporters, and they'll take it, and they'll like it, and they won't say anything about it while he's selling everybody for some money. And it's not even up for debate.
Maybe there's something at the end of the tunnel that's going to be good for MAGA. Mike?
What about Melania's statue over in her home country? You know, they cut that down at the ankles yesterday too, right?
Did they?
Yeah.
I wasn't watching the news yesterday. I was not watching.
Yeah, they went, and all that was left was her feet. But the funny part about it is her feet were on the ground, and they're normally in the air, so I was really surprised.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, I said it.
Oh,
yes,
my
I
God.
said it.
I gotta go.
Yeah.
All right.
Hey, take that Boogaloo Boy shirt off, too.
The fuck out of here. Appreciate it. Thank you. I'm talking about my shirt. Tap the screen. Get us on up to 55, maybe 60,000. Y'all can make that happen. Let your thumbs not be lazy. Tap the damn screen as you heard my last caller state. $5 footlongs, $10 my state pan, $4 a gallon in gas. Yikes. Like I said, I get accused of fluffing. I get accused of being on the side of Trump all the time. But in regards to pay to play, I'll defend Trump where I think he's worthy of being defended. I'm not so far to the left that I can't see good from Trump or bad from the left. I'll criticize both sides. I'll compliment both sides depending on what I'm looking at. But in regards to President Trump being a pay to play operate, there's no pushback for that. There is no pushback for that. I think the evidence is overwhelming that if you say the right things about Trump, speak favorably of him, speak highly of him, and you grease his palm, you can get in good with him. And I don't think it matters what you did in the past. I don't care how immoral, how awful it's been. If you do those two things, you will get in good with President Trump. And I would love to hear, because I'd be willing to concede, but I would love to hear an example of any world leader that did those two things, and Trump simply came out and stated, this is not the one I can't, anyone that spoke highly of him and done something for him that he rejected. I think if you do those two things, you're in. So I'm not going to go as far as my last caller, calling him a prostitute or any of that stuff. I get the synonyms and the relations of what he's saying. But fact is, you can buy Trump. You can buy Trump. He's not the president that is not taking a salary. He came with his own money, so he don't need anybody. He's taking money from everywhere. Now, it's a fact that he don't need it. I don't deny that he doesn't need it. A lot of very wealthy people do not need it. Elon Musk doesn't need any money, but they want it. They're taking it. What's wrong with wealthy people buying a gold card citizenship when if you're undocumented and cleaning toilets, you could end up in Guantanamo Bay? Sarcasm. I don't get what you're saying there, Props. What's wrong with wealthy people buying here's the problem is that folks are suggesting that Trump is the president of wealthy people. And based on what we're seeing, it's hard not to agree with that. I mean, since Trump has been in office, what has come down the pipe for the working man that is worthy of celebrating, other than the ceremonial victories I mentioned earlier? So he does come across as a president that is more favorable to the wealthy. Now, there's a lot of liberals that probably could fall in that category as well, too. But Trump, to me, it seems like that's the only category he's favoring. Looking in the comments real quick. Get us on up to 60,000. Up Kamala's Kit. What are you saying there, MAGA Reacts? He's saying kids should only have 1 or 2 dolls. Yeah, he did. To me that looked really bad. You're telling me that children need to understand we need to cut back to make America great. You don't need 11 dolls. You can make do with 2. You don't need 250 pencils. You can make do with less. While you're getting a jet, You got gold toilets in your crib. You're having a birthday party being thrown with $90 million that is coming from the mom of the kids you're saying that should have less at Christmas. That looked horrible. I don't give a damn what you think about Trump, whether you like him, whether you hate him. You're going to tell that child, this fictional 11-year-old that he came up with, you're going to tell that child you need to make cuts and understand you only need $2, you don't need 11. But then you're going to use that same child's mother's tax money to throw yourself a birthday party. That looks horrible. That looks horrible. But I'll tell you one thing, though. MAGA has his back. MAGA's like, look, it'll increase patriotism. It's about time we show the world how tough we are, et cetera, et cetera. MAGA has his back on that. I'll look at it like that. You're the poorly educated Trump loves, says Magnum. All right. Jesus, if you can afford it, buy it, but you don't need it. Well, the problem in this case is you can no longer afford $11. You can only afford $2 because of Trump's policies. You don't mind people talking shit, but if it's Trump, it upsets you. Stop being hypocritical. Huh? What Trump is saying, we often tackle and address, but he has the right to say it. By the way, before I go to the next caller, speaking of Trump saying shit, we do have to bring up Trump derangement syndrome. Is Trump a president that's doing what's right by America and the media is telling people to hate him? Or is he actually doing things that's leading people to really genuinely dislike him? Just this week, he attacked, while leaving the Middle East, none other than Taylor Swift. He took to social media and stated on his Truth Social account, has anyone noticed since I said I hate Taylor Swift, she is no longer hot? Now, Taylor Swift ain't said a damn thing about Trump in months, since the whole J.D. Vance childless cat ladies comment. Out of the blue, he decides to attack Taylor Swift. Within 24 hours, he also attacked Bruce Springsteen, stating that he is not a talented guy, he's dumb, he's a dried out, pushy, obnoxious jerk, and he's highly overrated. Now, both of these individuals have millions of fans. Do you think if the fans of Taylor Swift do not like Trump, or the fans of Bruce Springsteen start to dislike Trump, their dislike is coming from what the media told them to do? Want to point that out. Also, before I go to the next caller, James Comey, we talked about this as well. Former FBI Director James Comey, on social media, posted a picture of the numbers 8647. There's no context to this. It's just literally looks like seashells or some objects on the beach, because it's in sand, lined up to make the number 8647. That's it. There was outrage against former FBI Director James Comey under the guise that this meant you were suggesting that people 86 the 47th president of this country. The Trump administration states that as the FBI director, you should have knew damn well how people would take this. They want him investigated. They're saying he's calling for violence. By way of yes or no, how many of you folks believe that what James Comey did was a call to violence against President Trump? 8647. He just tweeted out those or posted those numbers. There is nothing else in the picture. Those numbers are laying in a pile of sand. So there's no other context. By way of yes or no in the comments, how many of you folks believe that what James Comey was doing was a call to violence against President Trump? Because the Trump administration is livid, calling for a federal investigation of former FBI Director James Comey, saying that as a former director, you knew what this was all about. Now, I want to talk about potential hypocrisy, because while Trump is claiming that Comey was calling for violence against him as president, many of you may be aware, if not, I'll tell you about it. A year ago, maybe a year or so ago, while under the label of former president, Donald Trump, he was former president at the time, had already served a full term, but he was former president. He took to his own social media and posted a picture of Biden hogtied in the back of a pickup truck. Leading to the obvious question: are insults, threats, and inappropriate internet messages aimed at Trump wrong, but not so much so when they come from Trump? Because if you can see violence in 8647, I'm going to assume you see violence in the actual picture of the president hogtied in the trunk of a car. If you can see it in 8647, how are you going to give it a pass when he's literally posting a picture of the man hogtied in the trunk of a car? Are we at a situation where insults against Trump are considered significantly worse than when Trump insults someone else? In other words, give Trump a pass when he's insulting people, but damn it, you're wrong if you insult him. Let me know in the comments. And I see Footy Dog said, but that's different though. I see the emoji at the end. I think you're being sarcastic. I'd like to know if you're not. But continue. I'll go back to the box. 8647. Is that a call to violence? Gangsta Grandma 8647. That's what we're asking. I don't know. Maybe she dropped out. We'll move it on with Dencal. Good evening, Dencal. A call to violence 8647. What say you, Dencal? Good evening.
Yeah, that's that selective outrage by the insulter in chief, who has pretty much put everybody who's insulted, in a position, of violence. You got Kash Patel, even during his nomination process, they showed him chopping the heads, using a chainsaw to chop the heads off of his political enemies. But that wasn't a call. That wasn't a call for violence. Now this dude is one of the top, national security people in the fucking world.
Right.
It's not a problem with him, but when somebody walking on a fucking beach, you know what I'm saying, using something that represents, look, in my time in the military, we would say 86 something. That just meant throw it in the trash.
Yeah,
it didn't mean.
Oh, so you do believe it was aimed at Trump? It just wasn't violence.
Yeah, I mean, it's like it's saying get rid of them. Like he says, get rid of everybody. He says everybody should lose their job. Every reporter that doesn't agree with him, you should lose your job. You're not very good. You need to be out of here. He does that all the time.
That is true.
No, I never associated with 86 as violent. It's just, get rid of it.
Well, saying get rid of someone can be violence in itself. If a mob boss says we need to get rid of him for the sake of the family business, I mean, they're probably talking about killing the guy.
Well, I would say the same thing about the man whose his whole persona was based off of you fired. He gets rid of people all the damn time, and nobody says that means he wants to, physically hurt them. If I say, man, he need to be out of here, that don't mean I want him dead. It just means I don't want him to be the president. I don't think he's qualified to be the president. And to think that somebody as knowledgeable about the law and everything as James Comey, to think that he would do that as a call for violence, no, that don't even make sense to me.
Well, my guess is he could have wrote down exactly. He could have sent out on the internet exactly your interpretation of it, which is somebody needs to get rid of Trump or get rid of 47, and they would have said that's a call to violence as well. I mean, because get rid of probably has been used to kill people before.
I mean, yeah, but I mean, there's so many different analogies that you can associate with violence. You got MAGA reacts on here, and you telling him they was running around talking about hang Mike Pence. He was like, well, no, that wasn't really. They weren't really there to hurt anybody.
Well, MAGA reacts is special. He's going to defend Trump no matter what. Yeah.
I'm just saying, though.
But speaking of MAGA reacts, did you hear his final statement in regards to if Trump openly admitted to being racist?
No, I didn't hear it.
Wow.
What did he say?
I wish I could replay it because he was talking about if Trump is doing a good job, the liberals need to quit paying attention to what he says and being gaslit. Just focus on the fact that he's doing a good job for America. And I gave him the hypothetical situation. I asked him, if Trump was giving us a really good economy, ending all these wars, and just making America functionally a great country economically and things like that, but he was caught on tape saying that I have a low opinion of African Americans and I don't like them and things like that. Could he still be a great president? Would you still support him? And he said, yeah. It's just words. As long as he's doing what's right about the country, the fact that he's racist, if this is fictional, but he said under that fictional scenario, he would still stand by Trump.
Yeah, I believe it. I mean,
Yeah.
that's a perfect example of why people don't respect what MAGA React says, because that is just that's crazy that we should think that the leader of the free world should have no care. He should not be he should not be a forgiving person. He shouldn't have empathy for people. He shouldn't reflect what you want in a person. Now, I know all presidents lie and say stuff, they try to get elected and all of that stuff. But I never believed that any of them truly just, well, I don't know, maybe Nixon, because he was pretty much a piece of shit. But we wouldn't have never knew that unless he got caught.
Yeah. But real quick in the comments, the Mobius Squadron, he doesn't pull any punches. He says nobody likes African Americans. So we're kind of living in a world where nobody likes us. So I guess he's basically saying that all white people are racist, I guess. Nobody likes African Americans is what he's saying.
Well, look, we've been saying that for decades, for centuries. And everybody told us we was delusional. Like, you guys look, just stop, you guys are just, what do they call it when you when you have sympathy for yourself. What do they say?
Your victim mentality.
Yeah. We got the victim mentality.
Yeah.
Like, nobody's doing anything against you guys, and then you got people like that poster that's saying the part out loud. Nobody likes us.
Well, he says we commit too much crime. So, I'm just telling you. Here's one of the things I will say, though. You're going to go to a country and literally purchase people, bring them back to this country, force them to work for free, enjoy them sexually anytime you want, but then say, well, they're criminals. You're raping the shit out of them. You're making them work for free. You're beating and killing them at will, but they're the ones that are criminals.
Right.
You can't make it up. You can't make it up.
After we say something about it,
Yeah.
They don't like us. You know what I'm saying?
I don't know, but I see this comment saying that.
So where is that same sentiment towards white people when they've done horrible shit?
They're doing it for the good of the country. They're doing it for the good of the country. That's why. When African Americans do it, they're doing it at detriment to the country. When whites do it, they're doing it for the good of the country. It's all about patriotism, Dencal. It's all about patriotism. Love your nation.
So did y'all have? I joined in late, but did y'all have a conversation on how these gas prices done shot back up?
No, I asked that on my other live because I was like, damn. I mean, it went up fast too. I mean, I was paying early in the week. I seen gas prices in my area around the $2.60, $2.70 mark. Now they're over $3 in the span of a week. What happened?
Ain't nobody said nothing either. Not MAGA. Remember last week they was like, the foods, everything's down. Gas is down. Gas is $1.98.
Yeah.
Crickets now.
I don't know. I gotta live like Trump. I wish I could be that man. I am jealous. People go all the time, you jealous of him? Hell yeah, I want to be like that, where I can say anything and people will be like, yeah, I'm a white man. I woke up this morning, I'm going from Tim to Todd. I just realized I'm Caucasian. Yeah, he is kind of white. Like, really? Yeah, he must be from Czechoslovakia. Maybe he just got that odd tan or something. He do look kind of white now. I'm like, wow. I mean, I gotta be like this guy.
The Supreme Court had to literally smack him down and say, No, we said do not send another Venezuelan out the country.
I don't think he's going to listen to the Supreme Court, didn't Cal? Even though,
okay. Well, that. This is where, like, he's been treading water, like saying stuff in court, but not really saying it. This is where the rubber meets the road, because they have made it clear. They said don't send another motherfucking Venezuelan out the country. They done said it.
what are the chances he gonna listen to that shit?
Ain't no interpretation shit. Can't no lawyer go up in court and be like, well, you know, what's his name? What's the guy? Stephen Miller can't say we won 9-0.
I don't think it matters. I mean, at the end of the day, folks feel like
you got to have more faith, man. The Supreme Court made it clear, man.
Let me ask you this though. In regards to us talking about racial shit, in the comments, there's no way I think Charles Summit says, McClure says, so you're sitting in a nice car, nice clothes, what's holding you back, sir? Are we at a time where, as he's stating, African Americans cannot be talking about racism in 2025 because ain't shit holding you back?
It's not about holding me back. I've already achieved the American dream.
Mm-hmm.
But our goal in life shouldn't be when I get mine, fuck everybody else. It shouldn't be like what's his name on Ice Cube's uncle on Friday when he said, I said when I got money I wasn't gonna leave the hood, but as soon as I got my check, I was gone.
Like you even sound like him. Yeah.
Right. No, it's not about that. It's about, look, I'm not even a religious guy, but the Bible says, you know what I'm saying, look out for the less than. That was his whole deal, Jesus was. Yeah. We used to have the old saying back in the day, what would Jesus do?
And that's why I have a hard time believing. People always say America's a Christian country. They're now trying to force kids down in Alabama and Oklahoma to read out of the Bible. I'm like, there's no way in hell Jesus would agree with the policies we're doing right now. No way. I mean, what the immigrants we're talking about, sending folks deliberately to prison, even though they haven't committed crimes for tattoos and shit, zero forgiveness. It makes no sense for us to step up and say we're a Christian country. You heard of rhinos? There has to be a group called CINO, C-I-N-O, Christians in name only. I mean, it makes, I mean, when you look at just how we were founded, since day one, we've been doing some anti-Christian shit from day one. It just makes no sense at all.
Right, and did you see what the church did, the archdiocese did after they brought those South Africans in?
No, what happened?
They used to be the people who resettle immigrants that come from war-torn countries.
Oh yeah, they said they would not help. They would not cooperate. Yeah.
So look, that ain't black people saying it. Yeah. That is racist. That's the church saying this is so outrageous that we not gonna participate in it.
Yeah, the real Christians, in other words, the ones who actually believe what the Bible is saying is like you can't just go around treating people like shit and then say you're following God. Yeah, I don't know, but it's amazing how many folks believe that you can behave the way we are while claiming to be Christian. I mean, isn't greed part of? You look at the Trump administration. Tell me you see no greed in that. I mean, it's just loaded with greed.
He represents the 7 deadly sins. He's all of them. Gluttony, all of them you could think of. That's Donald Trump. And they bypassed that all up to say, well, we want him to stop. We want him to stop from people from killing babies. So he can break all the rest of the other 9 commandments. But you want him to stop this one part of the 10 commandments, but he could break all the rest of them himself.
That's kind of the evangelical thing. I mean, as long as you can protect the life of the unborn, we'll consider that a win. We don't care what you do. I think the evangelicals that overwhelmingly supported Trump have that mindset. Rolling back Roe v. Wade was a huge, I mean, they've been trying to get that for 50 years. So you got to give Trump credit for that. That's a huge victory. Not to mention 6-3 majority on the Supreme Court. So the country is, despite the way we act, we are starting to claim Christianity more. I don't think we're acting like Christians, but more and more people are going to be reading what the teachings of Christianity are.
Yeah, but they're not. Look, they're not going to be receiving the word just because you read it on a piece of paper. We all know from our past as kids, just because you go to church don't mean you saved. Just because you make a kid read the Bible, all you're going to do is confuse the hell out of the kid when they see all of this murdering and killing and everything going on in the Bible, and then they say, "Thou shalt not kill."
Well, my guess is the same thing when the Catholic Church was abusing children. They probably some kind of way worded it so the kids thought that they were taking that dick for the Lord. I mean, the thing about it is you can do anything if you convince people that if they by doing this, it'll give you greater access to the kingdom of heaven. Whether it's killing, whether it's sexual. I mean, that's how religion gained all its power. Is because they convince people that if you don't do this, you're gonna burn in hell. So people just kept following it because, hey, at the end of the day, there's eternal greatness in it for me. You can get people to do anything if you get them deep enough in religion.
Yeah, I guess we about to have a battle royale. You know, we got the Chicago Pope now, and now they saying he's about to start. You know what I'm saying stuff about politics in America. You know it's not gonna be good for Trump.
Yeah, you gonna have a bunch of MAGA converting to a different religion soon. Remember, if you ever see the movie Harlem Nights, I Ain't Never Coming Home Again? Said after he was with Sunshine, he converted to religion. He converted to Baptist.
He found a new religion.
Yeah, it's gonna be like that. Tell your mama I ain't never coming home again. I gotta move it on, then, Cal. Appreciate it.
All right, man. Good talk.
Good talk. Yeah, it's gonna be like that. I mean, shit, if Catholics don't like Trump, then damn it, I ain't Catholic. Shit, Catholics are fucking liberal libtards or something like that. Anyway, looking in the comments, he's already called out J.D. Vance. Wow. 86 is not defined as violent. It's a 1930s bar culture slang to remove or eject someone. Well, but you still, I mean, it ain't good, I guess I will say. I'm just gonna leave it like that. But my guess is you've probably had some mob bosses say that we need to 86 or get rid of someone, and it was used in conjunction with committing a murder. I think James Comey should have at least expected his comment was not going to be taken favorably, and it might be met with some form of outrage. But while we're criticizing James Comey, there's no way in hell I can ignore the hypocrisy when you got the same guy that he was targeting with that comment on record as tweeted out a picture of the current president hogtied in the back of a trunk. I just don't think a lot of things Trump may have a good point about, but he just doesn't make a good messenger or victim for what he's talking about. Just like in this case, I'm talking about him sending out a picture of Biden hogtied in the truck, and now he's complaining about somebody threatening him. The same thing applies to this. You don't need but 2 dolls instead of 11 while you're having a multi-million-dollar birthday party, getting a fancy jet, and you got luxury everything. I mean, you're telling this person to live within their means when you're living in exceptional excess to the point where you don't even like flying around on the most recognized jet in the world. You want something better. But you're telling me this girl who only wants a few extra dolls is doing too much. He just doesn't make the right messenger for it. Even though he's right, we do buy too much shit. We do purchase more than what we need. He just is not the right messenger for it. He probably lives better than 99.9999% of Americans. He's not the right messenger for it. He wasn't the right messenger for it before he became president. Looking in the comments, I think it would be worse if the guy sent him tampons for his ear. I mean, I guess it's a dig at Tim Walz. I don't know where you're going with that. But John Dufree says to shut your worthless trap. You ever be in what we used to call it signifying back when we were kids, where you guys are ribbing on each other, you're name calling each other, and somebody who has nothing, don't have a good joke or a good insult. They just you look like a donkey here. Just don't. This guy told me to shut my worthless trap. You know, just some shit you throw out there when you don't have really anything, anything that's going to hit, that's going to stick. Shut your worthless trap. Well, real quick in the comments, Jesus was coming, but his visa was denied, being from Palestinian area and all. Damn. You know, you're not the first person that I've heard indicate that Trump would probably deport Jesus. If Jesus looks the way that some black people say he look, I believe it all. Let me go back to the box, tap the screen, get us up to 75,000. Your mama jokes. Yeah, there you go, Dean Cowboy. People had nothing to say. Just say any damn thing. Shut your worthless trap. Just whatever you can come up with. 86 in, this is Coop Cooper says, 86 in mafia slang means to eliminate, kill. It's in the movies like Goodfellas, TV shows like Sopranos. It doesn't mean anything, but you're going to meet the L Secret Service if you throw it at the president. You know something? I don't have a problem with that. I don't have a problem with it during an investigation of somebody at James Comey level that does something like that. I think it's legit, just like when Kathy Griffin held up the severed head of Trump. I don't see any problem with going and looking into that. But to give Trump a pass when he clearly pictured of nothing but violence against Biden just seems hypocritical. That's all I'm saying. You can do what you're doing from the Trump administration side, but if you enjoyed or laughed at Trump doing the same damn thing, then you're being hypocritical. If you know damn well you would not favor seeing a picture of Trump hog-tied in a pickup truck, but you laughed when it was Biden, then you're being hypocritical. If 86-47 is violence to you, but you laughed at Biden hog-tied in a pickup truck, yeah, it's just a bunch of hypocrisy. Looking in the comments, bro, the right using 86-46 so many times. I haven't seen it. Probably because the left was not as hyper as Trump. When Biden tweeted out, or better yet, when Trump tweeted out a picture of Biden hog-tied in the back of a pickup truck, because Trump floods he floods the zone with so many insults and shit like that, it's just another piece of shit statement coming from Trump. But the Biden administration didn't call for an investigation of Trump and put him on a no-fly list and things like that. They put Kathy Griffin, when she held up the severed head of Trump, they put her on a no-flight list. The CIA came and saw her. She lost a bunch of jobs and everything. Trump sends out a picture of Biden hog-tied in the back of a pickup truck, and he kept on full steam ahead. I don't think he faced hardly, a few liberals, MSNBC and shit like that said a few things about it, but that's about it. That was really about it. He didn't pay any price for doing that. So he is getting preferential treatment even when he was in the off season, even while he was a former president. But it's going to be honest with you, that's part of the Biden administration. The Biden administration should have pushed much, much harder on that. You know, the Trump administration, President Trump himself is pushing very hard to have something done to James Comey. You know he is. I don't know what federal benefits, assistance that Comey may still be able to receive. Expect Trump to cut those off. If he's getting anything, briefings, anything from the federal government, expect Trump to cut all that stuff off. By the time Trump is done, he may not even be allowed in a federal building again. It's a big difference, big difference. Trump comes at you with vengeance. The liberals were kind of finagling, well, he's just an asshole, or he just talks that way. Trump is coming at you with vengeance. Maybe the liberals need to take a page from his book. Looking in the comments, no, Biden just had the FBI investigate Trump and impeach him 3 times. There's no evidence of that, holy Jody Balley. Trump is the one that states that every issue he had was coming by way of Biden. He proved none of that. Biden was weaponizing the government. Biden was the same guy that don't even know where the fuck he's at. Don't even know what his name is. Can't even stand up on stage. Can't put together 2 sentences. Was somehow orchestrating this huge plot against President Trump to take him down. Either the guy don't know where he's at and he's old and senile, or he's some diabolical genius. He can't be both. He can't be weaponizing the government and going after me. No, didn't prove it. Now that Trump is in office as president, notice he don't prove any of that stuff he said. Okay, everything from the election to the cats and dogs I bring up. Not everything he said that is highly not only controversial, but the kind of shit that would piss you off. You know, how the hell could they be eating people's pets or stealing elections? Or Obama bugged his office, the kind of stuff that would piss you off. You notice he ain't proved any of that stuff? It just goes away. He says it. A lot of his supporters, MAGA, believe it. And that's all he needs to do. No evidence. Same thing about a lot of the waste, fraud, and abuse that Elon Musk was allegedly finding. No proof required. As long as you say it, good enough. Looking in the comments real quick, Obama is still in charge. Really? Really? Even his rallies are not working, says Billy Well. I don't know, Trump. I think everything Trump is doing is working. Trump is getting his way unobstructed. What do you mean it's not working? Someone said I look like a cop. Wow. Haven't heard that before. Let me continue on with the program. We'll go back to the box. Jeff, is this Booker? And I'm curious, is that an Australian or a New Zealand flag there, Jeff? And don't know if he came back up. We'll try it again before we continue on. Hawaii 5-0, Michael. I see it. The UN will get Trump. Well, my guess is if the politics in this country go the way it normally goes, Trump will eventually probably face some kind of trouble. Now, he'll pardon himself before he leaves office and things like that, but unless he pardons everything, because there's a whole lot of members of his administration that's in on a lot of this stuff as well. All the way on down to the likes of Marjorie Taylor Greene. She made a killing off of what many believe was an insider trading scheme. There's going to be a lot of people. I mean, there's a lot of folks that are low-hanging fruit at this point for an angry liberal predecessor to go after. I mean, there's a lot of things orbiting around Trump, a lot of people that are orbiting. People going to be, listen, when heads start rolling, people start talking. Once Trump is no longer in power and unable to hurt or influence people, you're going to be amazed at what comes out. I don't know if it's going to go anywhere, but there's a lot of money being made in Trump circles, whether it's his cryptocurrency, shit he's selling, things like that. And look, if you believe all of that's on the up and up, I'm going to leave that alone. But my guess is there will be investigations and things like that after Trump is gone, perhaps on Trump and people in his orbit. Because a lot of people are making a killing off of things that may not be legal, so to speak, including deals with foreign countries, leading Al Provencher to say this guy is an idiot. You know what crazy? Let me say this right here. I'm trying to go to the next caller, but it's giving me problems. I'll bring up a next caller the minute it resets. But let me say this. I don't block, ban, or censor any damn body on the program. You can be critical of yours truly. You can be critical of other people in the comment section. But typing shit like misinformation, you're a piece of shit, you're a dumbass, this guy's an idiot. You got room to type a whole fucking paragraph. Why not put something in there with some substance? I mean, what's next? Your mama's fat? I mean, put something in there with some substance. Maybe you got a point to be made. We'll read it. We'll tackle it. This guy's an idiot doesn't say shit. In fact, it makes you look like you're talking about your damn self. Feel free to clear that up. Looking in the comments, yeah, like Pelosi, my guy. Insider trading, she's the queen of it. Yes, and that's a good point, Old Testament. I can't argue with you on that. You probably would have a hard time going at anybody on the right for insider trading. People, I think it's fairly clear that Nancy Pelosi and plenty of liberals have made money off of that as well. But we're living in an environment now where people are free to only go after the other side and they can ignore what's happening on their side. I just used the Trump example of James Comey versus him tweeting out a picture of Biden. So even though I agree with you 100%, it looks flaky to go after the right for insider trading when you got folks like Nancy Pelosi. I'm going to submit to you that Trump has made that okay to do that. Trump has made it okay to go after people for shit that you are doing. So if the liberals in the future decide to go after Trump for insider trading and ignore the liberals that probably did the same shit, it looks like bullshit to do it, but Trump has kind of set the stage for that now. He has set the stage for doing that kind of stuff now because he's been doing it and we've been allowing him to do it. So I agree with your point, but understand what goes around comes around. I think it's funny Big Pharmaceuticals is Bernie's #1 donor. Same point. Same point to you as well. Same point to you as well. There's a lot of liberals that are making money similar to how Trump is making money. But like I said, we're in an environment now because of Trump where it's okay to go after your adversary while you're doing the exact same thing. So there will come a time when MAGA, when Trump are bitching about the liberals going after them for stuff that they can clearly point to how liberals got away with it in the past. You've opened up the door to that kind of stuff, such as starting with stuff like Mitch McConnell stopping Obama's Supreme Court pick, saying it's too close to the election, and then when it was even closer to the election, you let Trump's go through. So you're doing things to the other side that you wouldn't do to yourself. So expect one day likely that the liberals will be doing the same thing. You're not going to like it no more than the liberals like it now. But you've opened the door to that. I'm not defending it. I'm just explaining it. You've opened the door to that. You're okay with it. You're okay with Trump tweeting out a picture of Biden hogtied, but you don't like James Comey sending out messages that might be something similar. You can only play this, it's okay for me to do it, but not you for so long. It can come back to you. And as long as you keep letting it happen, it will. Looking in the comments, do you have any issues with Trump violating the Constitution? So far as him deporting or attempting to deport criminals without a fair trial. Everyone is entitled to a fair trial per the Constitution. I don't like him doing it. No, yeah, I have 100% issue with it. For the simple fact that if you suggest that an illegal immigrant does not deserve due process, then that means there's no way to know that the person that actually got deported was an illegal immigrant. I could grab you and tell the public you were an illegal immigrant. You don't get a court date, remember? You're an illegal. You don't get due process. So how would anybody know? If I pick you up off the street and see you to Libya, see you to El Salvador, and I tell the public I deported an illegal immigrant last night, how does anybody know I didn't? They say they believe you don't deserve due process. So you could be on the plane screaming a whole flight that you were born in Schenectady, New York, and I've never been out of the country, and your story will never get out. And by the way, there's no requirement that they tell anyone in your family that you got picked up. Kilmar Abrego Garcia's family didn't know he got picked up until they saw him on TV getting his fucking head shaved. And that's because El Salvador tried to do a promo commercial bragging about what they do to the people. His family was never going to be advised that he had got picked up. You don't get any phone calls or anything. You can easily do that to an American. Just pick them up because maybe an American is writing bad newspaper articles about your administration. Maybe they're tweeting out 8647 or some shit like that. Perhaps we need to send 4 or 5 guys by his house and pick him up before he gets out of hand with this editorial shit. And the guy is just gone. Now your family can go down to the local police station and file a missing persons report on you. Okay, maybe he's just tired of being married to your ass. Maybe he just ran away. And that's it. The idea that this is impossible, is fear-mongering, it could never happen is ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Fact is, whether you think it can happen or never happen, by saying you can get rid of people without due process, you've given them the keys to make it a reality. Now we're in a phase where you just have to trust. You just have to have blind trust that he won't ever do it. But if you allow him to deport folks without due process, you just totally trusted that he won't ever use that power for evil purposes. Because there's nothing to stop him. So, yeah, I have a major problem with that. Looking in the comments, whatever comes out of Trump's mouth, you better believe it. then I believe he never met Stormy Daniels. I believe he didn't never touch E. Jean Carroll. I believe he won the 2020 election. I mean, shit. I believe they're eating cats and dogs in Springfield. I mean, is that what you're telling me? Okay. Looking at the comments, why can't people understand this? The government can say you belong to the group that doesn't get due process. You ever heard the phrase, I didn't think they would do that to me? That's why you're getting the blind trust. I trust that Trump is doing what's right for this country. He's going to get these illegals out of here. This would never happen to me or anybody in my family until it actually does. Simple as that. Maybe somebody in your family does not like Trump. Start protesting at a particular college or university, or start putting, ads online and saying things negative about him, and it gets national attention. Next thing you know, you're filing a missing persons report. You might feel confident that this person got snatched up by the government. Without proof, it goes nowhere. After 9/11, after September 11th, Muslims in this country were disappearing all over the damn place. I knew someone at the time that was going through that. They were certain that their brother had got picked up by someone in the U.S. government. They claimed there was a car parked across the street all the time with people sitting in it and shit like that. Their brother disappeared. 3 weeks later, after filing multiple missing persons reports and hearing that he probably ran away or something, he just randomly showed back up at home and told the story of how the government had detained him and held him in custody the whole time. They had him and knew that this family was filing missing persons report trying to get their loved one back, and they just kept telling them maybe he ran away. So it absolutely can happen. The fear-mongering part, keep believing it. Let me try another guess. We're having trouble bringing up guests. I don't know why, but we'll try Sherbert. Good evening, Sherbert. Welcome to the program. Are you there? Yeah, I don't know what's going on with the box here. Sherbert, are you there?
How's it going, Tim?
I'm doing good. We're talking
I can't believe you picked up. I just requested.
Oh, yeah, the box. I've tried to pick up people in the boxes coming in and going out. Did you hear about this James Comey 8647 thing?
No, I haven't heard anything about that. What's going on?
Former FBI Director Jim Comey, posted a picture of, it looked like some seashells or some shit lined up in sand that had the number 8647. Trump administration is livid, suggesting that this means the former FBI director is suggesting that somebody needs to 86 the 47th president of the United States. Now, Comey is pleading ignorance, like he just posted this, didn't know what it meant. He quickly took it down, though. Do you see this as potentially a call to violence against the president?
I mean, isn't he a public citizen now?
Yeah.
What does it matter if he posts anything about, wanting to get rid of the president? He has no power.
Well, he is the former head of the FBI. You got to assume there's a hell of a lot of...
talking about an assassination attempt. He might be talking about using the 14th Amendment to get this guy out. So there's nothing wrong with him showing his opinion. And even then, he didn't even say it explicitly.
No, but can you see where the Trump administration might...
No.
You don't see this at all?
No, because when MAGA reacts is going to say that, oh, Trump was just telling a joke. We got to wait till the finish line.
You know MAGA reacts too well,
huh? If they're not going to give an inch on anything, then no, this doesn't mean anything. This is just them fear-mongering when somebody who used to work for the government had an opinion and put it online.
But you
can't be the snowflake and the party of free speech if this is such a problem.
Yeah, but we are talking about the former head of the FBI. Would he not know better?
Our current director of the FBI is a piece of shit. So what does it matter if Comey says something in a cryptic message? I mean, this should really be QAnon shit, not the House arguing about stupid shit.
Well, speaking of MAGA reacts, he states in the comments, yes, Trump is funny. Comey is not. Comey persecuted the mafia. He knows what
I don't give a
86
shit
means.
about funny.
But
I
he
don't
is.
give a shit if Trump is funny. He's destroying the country in very clear, obvious ways. When they say Biden and Obama destroyed the country, they've got nothing on all the shit Trump does. So get off of it, MAGA reacts.
Trump is destroying the country in what way, though?
Economics being a big one, where he's tearing down the infrastructure of everything with Medicaid, Medicare, the Meals on Wheels, fucking everything. We're not going to be fixing anything. We're only going to go into a decline.
Well, the claim is that we're fighting waste, fraud, and abuse. I mean, don't you want? I mean, this is what he's saying.
That we're spending more money now than we were last year. So none of that makes sense, Tim. They can have their taglines. That doesn't make it true. Oh, the open borders. They were for open borders. No, we were there for actually putting in regulation instead of the shit we have now of nothing.
Do you see any good out of Trump at all?
Not normally. I'm not the person to say I'll never give him anything, but usually the things he's done good were the things he's been criticized the most for, like the vaccine.
So let me ask you this also.
The things I would respect, MAGA reacts won't, so whatever.
You and MAGA react. Switching from this whole James Comey this threat. The SCOTUS has stopped him from temporarily using this Alien Enemies Act. Now, Trump claimed that we were being invaded, which is why he used the Alien Enemies Act, which allows him to deport people without due process. Do you agree with him that under Biden, that's what we were dealing with, is an invasion?
No, not at all. Because if it wasn't for their fear-mongering, we would hear almost nothing about it.
Yeah, and I see the comments. Dennis Calhoun said, Pam Bondi said that James Comey should be in jail. Damn, that's extreme. In jail?
Pam Bondi is a traitor for Qatar, so
What did she do to make you say that? What did you do? What did she do?
She was a registered agent for Qatar, and so when she approved the plane to go to Trump, it was a clear violation because she had an interest in Qatar. They were paying her $300,000 or $500,000 a month, or something ridiculous, maybe $150,000 a month, to be an ambassador for Qatar. And then all of a sudden, she's okay with giving Trump a $400 million plane. I don't understand where any of these DJ Julios or whoever are going to say, "Oh, there's no problem," when there's clear contradiction of interest.
Yeah, conflict. And that's why I said that after Trump is out of office, there's going to be people throughout his administration that are going to be facing all kinds of legal action, unless he just offers a blanket pardon to every Republican, every Republican in Washington, because there are so many people that probably made money ways that they legally could not. Now, I've had a few guests bring up Nancy Pelosi and some of them with insider trading, and I'm not saying that they don't have some legitimate points, but I think that the Trump administration probably got a bit too greedy and did it on too wide of a scale. So it would not surprise me is that after he left, heads were rolling everywhere.
This feels like the tortoise and the hare, and the Democrats are the tortoise. And so they're doing some schemy shit, but it's usually low and slow, where MAGA's coming in and just running as fast as they can, tripping over every branch of the legal rules, saying you can't do that.
Yeah, well, the Trump administration
just trying to go as fast as possible.
I think that you might go into you go into somewhere and you're on a scheme or whatever. I'm gonna take a few bucks and they might not notice, and the next guy, I'm gonna take it all. Fuck it, I'm in here. I'm gonna just take it all. I mean, so I think in Trump's case, because all politicians are trying to get paid in some way, fashion, or form. I don't think any of them are just so focused on the country that they ain't trying to pocket some money out of there. The Trump administration is just like, I'm gonna fucking take as much as I possibly can get, and I think that's what's gonna draw attention to him. He could have made a killing, but he's trying to just like empty the piggy bank. Like, I'm taking everything.
Well, the new tax bill really clarifies that quite a bit, where they're trying to get rid of everything that doesn't help out the rich. And so all of these campaign promises that Trump said would be easy are not in his actual bill. So the big, beautiful bill, which personally bothers me with how dumb of a name that is.
Well, everything he even said when
Trump, it will, but damn, that's dumb.
But that's just how Trump speaks. He even said when people self-deport, he's going to put them on a beautiful flight back home. I mean, he just, it was a beautiful phone call with the Ukrainians. Everything's beautiful to him.
Just wait until he paints the White House gold when he gets in for his third term.
Third? So you believe this is going to happen?
I think I'm going to get arrested at the Capitol when I go to protest the third term.
Oh my God! Well, he has stated that he has no intentions of running for a third term.
He also said he didn't know anything about Project 2025, and yet half of that has already been implemented. And now they're going after porn, which was another major thing.
Yeah, I heard that. Oh my God, my dick softened. I heard that. I enjoy watching that little
thing that people like porn, except for the fundamental Christians. And I don't really care what they think. They don't get to tell me what I get to watch. Now, if it's like super explicit children violence, great. We should absolutely have some rules. But to just say, that's wrong, you shouldn't have that, when literally everyone across the planet, look at the North Korean soldiers that went to Russia or Ukraine, and they couldn't get them to stop jerking off because they finally had access to actual porn.
Is that for real?
Yeah, that was the huge story, is that all these North Korean troops were realistically no good because once they had access to the internet, they would just go hide in behind a couple trees and not do anything.
Damn!
It was amazing. It was showing that North Korea had nothing because once their soldiers had a little bit of freedom, that's all they did. And so for Project 2025 to want to come after something that naturally people want to see, what are we doing? Why do we got to tell everybody how to live their lives instead of just be free?
Because that's what...
I don't feel very free right now, Tim.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's what Christianity is about. And not just Christianity, but religion in general dictates how you should live your life, which is why I tell people all the time who have a problem with, the left and the progressives, there is a such thing as far right as well. We talk about the far left all the time, but there is a such thing as far right, and it's going to be that, hardcore pro-religion, marginalized populations like women and minorities. I mean, there is just think about far right countries. The Taliban, that's a far right group. And they don't realize that, but in far right communities, you tend to have a lot less rights than you do in far left communities, you can walk down the street and smoke heroin. I mean, you can do anything. The further to the left you go, the more rights you get. The further to the right you go, the less rights you have. But I don't think they realize that.
I would really like all these MAGA people to stop saying they're for freedom when everything they do, like book bans, is not very free.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think it's really about freedom. I think it's really about Christianity. And you want to live a good...
It's about power.
I mean, they can kind of be synonymous with each other if you really look at it.
Yeah, generally, but...
I mean, religious leaders have a lot of power.
Privilege is what it feels like.
You said what?
All these people really just seem to want to have their privilege more than anything and then be able to tell other people how to live their lives. And it doesn't feel very free. It doesn't feel very patriotic.
Well, until Trump actually takes away a right, though, it's going to be viewed as liberal fear-mongering. You're talking about he's taking away rights, but the question is, what rights have you lost under Trump?
No, my memory is not very good, so...
And that's the point.
I'm not going to be able to argue this point right now. But with all of the illegal shit, like all of his crypto trading and dealing with other countries and clearly just not giving a fuck about America and trying to take everything he can, I don't see how it helps the world, how it helps America. And if you're not helping America, you're probably trying to fuck it up.
Well, until they see solid evidence that he is trying to fuck up America, they're going to continue.
They'll never see it, Tim. They believe that January 6th was a peaceful protest. Nothing matters to these people that are drinking the Kool-Aid here.
Yeah. How far does this go?
They say that we are crazy and out of our minds, but when they won't listen to actual facts, statistics, or video evidence, there is no more conversation. That's why I say fuck MAGA Reacts and DJ Julio's, because they're not gonna listen to anything. So I'm tired of giving them respect.
Then how far does this go? If you believe that MAGA is that much in the tank for Trump and drinking the Kool-Aid, as you're saying.
Not everyone, but the pretzels and the Trump sexuals, they're gone.
Trump sexual. What the hell is that?
Yeah, if they can't stop gagging on all of his propaganda, then they're Trump sexuals. It's a fetish at that point.
Well, flash in the
TDS that goes on to MAGA, that makes them Trump sexuals.
Well, flash in the pants, because you mentioned January 6th. He says January 6th is minor
It's a three-pronged attempt to take over the government.
Yeah, but he said it's minor compared. He said it's minor compared to the BLM riots. So if you're gonna bring up January 6th, that ain't nothing.
Shit, Tim. BLM riots were a spontaneous thing across multiple states that were actually a peaceful protest, and then people came in and fucked it up. Versus them going to the Capitol with gallows. When people split off and go riot or loot some stores, has nothing to do with the people in the streets actually standing there with the signs being peaceful. There's a very big difference there, too.
Let me ask you.
There was 10,000 arrests. Wait. There was 10,000 arrests over all of the BLM riot or protests going on. So things actually happened. People were locked up. It wasn't like, oh, we just let them do whatever the hell they wanted. There was a couple spots like Chaz, but honestly, everyone that's going to compare those two can fuck right off, because it is not the same versus trying to take over literally the government.
I want to ask you something, but before I do, Gorilla God King answered that question about what rights have you lost under Trump. It says workers' protection, anti-segregation in federal spaces, birthright citizenship, and soon habeas corpus. So he's pointing out rights that you actually have lost under President Trump. But in regards
to with all of those,
I
agree with that person. I agree with all of those. We've lost tons of our rights. It's just I'm not very good at saying which ones those are.
Oh, and he goes, this guy is a minor attracted adult. Somebody, I guess he's trying to. I think that's what he's saying. Someone has suggested that either you or I is a minor attracted adult. I don't know what that is.
Sounds really dumb. But
I don't know.
Right.
I don't know what.
I don't know what I could have possibly said to bring that up, but sure.
Okay. I wish he could define it, because I don't know what that means. And I see somebody else says basically a pedo. I don't know what it means, and I don't know why it came up, but.
Yeah, I don't know what I could have said, but whatever. You were going to ask me a question.
I can't remember. It threw me off now, because I was trying to ask you. You were making your point that somebody else, so many things threw on top of it. I cannot remember what I was going to ask you. I'm getting old.
It probably wasn't about me getting arrested at the Capitol here in 3 years.
I hope that doesn't happen.
Me too. I will definitely be nonviolent, but I will definitely also protest against somebody taking over the country for an unconstitutional third term.
Well,
I don't care if they pass this new bill that they're trying to fuck around and make Obama not eligible for a third term. It's not allowed. And if you're not going to make the rules fair, I'm not going to abide by those.
What is the bill that what's in this bill? What are you talking about?
They were saying that any president that runs for a third term has to have non-consecutive first and second terms. So then making Obama ineligible for that cutout.
I got to ask at this point, because Trump has pissed off a lot of folks, and even though MAGA don't often admit it, I mean, a lot of MAGA's been fired. You mentioned farmers and things like that. If he was to run for a third term, if he was to run for a third term, and we had a free and fair election, I'm not sure he would win this time. I'm not 100% sure, because there's a lot of
farmers in rural areas are going to be so screwed over when Medicaid gets cut out and all their hospitals get shut down, and then they can't get any help that's not 3 hours away. Yeah. I think that's going to make a huge impact.
Well, I'll tell you something though. Honey Barbecue Wings in the comments says, "No, bro, we happy as fuck." So apparently, there's a lot of Trump supporters that are, as he says, happy as fuck.
A lot of the trickle-down problems with tariffs and all of his infrastructure are going to start hitting those rural areas very soon.
No. Until that happens, and by the way, once that happens, you got to convince them that it's happening because of Trump and not some liberal policy. So I don't know. Because if Walmart doesn't, hold on, if Walmart does not eat those tariffs, I don't think MAGA is going to blame Trump. They're going to blame Walmart.
No, they don't blame him for anything. They don't blame him for anything. He's a deity, which
Trump,
is dumb.
All right,
But
Trump.
like MAGA React said the other day, it's all about the finish line. We got to wait till the finish line, Tim. And at that point, we'll see how pissed off the rural communities really are at him later.
I don't know if you ever get to see that. I see Country says he
No, we
hates.
won't have another election.
He said he hates Trump because he is shutting down the minor attracted adults.
What the fuck?
I still don't.
No, I'm pissed off about them shutting down porn. I'm saying there should be restrictions against minor porn. Oh my god. That guy got the complete opposite of what I was saying. What a fucking idiot.
All right, I got to move it on, Sherbert. As always, thank
How
you.
do I exit here, Tim?
I'll take care of it. Don't worry about
This
it.
is the first time out.
I got you.
Have a good
All
night.
right, you too. All right, moving on with the program. I don't. The minor. I guess he's talking pedos, but it was in reference to the idea that Trump, under the Trump administration, he's starting to have Republican states limiting access to porn. Like with everything else, it's for the fucking kids, man. You hear that all the time, whether it's the transgender stuff, LGBT in schools, everything because if you can get people to believe you're getting rid of something that's harmful to children, it's easier to get people to back it. But I did mention earlier in the live that if you can't say that you don't want shit shoved down the throats of kids, but you're okay with all these schools now forcing children to pray and hear about Christianity and read the 10 Commandments, forcing kids to pledge allegiance. All of that's propaganda being shoved down the throat of kids. I think is that we're okay with shit being shoved down the throats of kids when we agree with it. Because most children could not even tell you what it means to pledge allegiance to a nation. Some of them can't even spell it. They certainly could not tell you what it means to pledge allegiance to a nation, but you want them to put their hands on their heart and say it. Okay, you just said the pledge of, what does that mean to you? I don't know, it's what the teacher said to say. So that's how propaganda works. Same thing with the shit that's in the Bible. When you start forcing kids to read the Bible and pray in schools, the propaganda is you get them to do what's in the book because they fear if they don't, the book tells them they're going to burn in hell forever. The Bible is loaded with all kinds of bad shit that's going to happen to you if you don't follow what's in it. So essentially, you're scaring the shit out of them. That's basically what you're doing. You're scaring the shit out of them to make them into Christians. I just have to push back and say that if a child that wants to identify as a different gender or become a member of the LGBTQ community should have to wait till they're 18 before that decision can be made, why doesn't that apply to their religion? Being religious, following the teachings of a deity, is a major decision. Why should the child be forced to do that as a kid? I don't understand why it's okay with religion, but it's not with sexuality, for instance. Other than we're okay forcing religion on a kid, and we don't want you forcing LGBT stuff on a kid. It's all shoving shit down a kid's throat. Gender benders is what you're worried about, Tim? No, it's what the right is worried about. It's what the right. You've never read the Bible, have you? Yeah, I have lyrics for life. You don't look. You're trying to convince me that the Bible is not loaded with threats of what happens to you if you don't follow the teachings of God. Is that what you're trying to tell me? That none of that's in there? The whole thing tells you either you do things this way or bad shit's going to happen to you. You're going to tell me I'm wrong about that? All right, let me go back to the box. Because Americans was a Christian religion and not all these other... Yeah, America, as I brought up earlier, America is essentially the Christian version of a rhino. Republican in name only. Sino, Christian in name only. When you look at how America was founded, whether it's how we treated the natives, whether it's how we treated blacks or women, Does any of that shit appear Christian to you? Not only exploiting them for labor, exploiting them for sex, exploiting them for labor. Does any of that come across as Christian? How this nation was founded, how we've been treating people since the very beginning. I mean, even with what's going on in Gaza, most of that shit that Netanyahu was using has "Made in America" written on the side of it. Does any of this stuff come across as Christian? I don't see the America's a Christian nation. I see America calling itself Christian. But in terms of actually putting action behind your words, we just canceled funding USAID so we could give the richest people on the planet tax breaks. Does that look Christian to you? We're going to stop giving folks AIDS cures and medicine and shit like that so that we can give millionaires and billionaires a tax cut. That comes across as Christian to you? Defending the essence of greed written right in the Ten Commandments? Is that what Christian is to you? I don't see the Christian in America, and I grew up Christian. I don't see it at all. I think people are making excuses to feel better when it doesn't take but just a little bit of a magnifying glass to say, no, we ain't doing, we're not practicing what we preach. I just don't see it in any way, shape, or form. Looking in the comments, though, that's why we need to bring God back. The people who are telling you to bring God back are the ones that's doing this shit. And I will tell you this also. If you look at the evolution of this country, going back from the time we were founded until now, you'll see that religion in this country has gotten less and less and less over that time. And during that same period of time, when America started getting further and further and further away from religion, Americans became more and more free and aimed closer to equality. Once you go back in time to an era when we were more religious, you'll notice that the people were less free. They were more and more being exploited, mistreated. So the idea that, I'm trying to run a live. I hate when motherfuckers pull right up next to me, but I got somebody doing that. And I'm trying to see what, I don't like when motherfuckers pull up next to me. Let me just tell you that. And, hi. Hold on a second, folks. I'm going to get the fuck up out of here because I don't like when people pull right up next to me. I'm in the middle of a wide open space, and you got the whole parking lot. Why are you here? Hold on a second, folks. Why the fuck are you here? Let me get this person some space. God damn it. Somebody said to drive off. Oh no. Like I said, you got the whole fucking beach. Why you pull up next to me and start sitting down? This ain't where you belong. So anyway, get your heat. Yeah, I got the heat, but I don't want to use the heat. Hang on a second. Let me step away.